Ulonga tabati yada to ye ko madaifa ino to ye ko jeun love bi pa Ọba Tálá ọba takuntakun Ṣàngó Èṣù Ògún Ọya Ọ̀ṣun Kíni ṣẹ̀ṣe tán ṣe nílé yìí o ó jẹ́ lọ jára.
Alapia, peace and blessings, and welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisa Gbemi, and today we are joined once again by the prolific, the big chief, Rod Hayes. Peace and blessings. What's good with you, bro?
Peace, brother. Peace. Taking it easy, going with the flow. You know how I do.
Already. So yeah, man, we about to get in here and burn this thing down once again. It's definitely been it's been an interesting week, a couple of weeks actually. Shoot, from the first time you came on till now, it's been a lot of motion, man. So we definitely salute you and appreciate the coming through, man, and chopping it up with the tribe. And dope show last week with the elders for the honoring El Hajj. And shout out to the tribe, man. Tribe is tribe and heavy. A lot of new faces, a lot of new subscribers. I give thanks, peace, and blessings to all y'all. We appreciate the love and support. And so with that, Big Chief, man, listen, the Great Awakening. That's I feel like that's a point in time that we are at and what we're seeing, what we're in right now. And I think I recall how you first started your journey when it comes to this thing called consciousness or being woke, or being awakened, whatever you want to call it. But in regards to your journey up until today, May 27th, 2025, 10:38 p.m., where do you see the awakening as a collective when you talk about where the planet is now, and then also like with the planetary alignments, all the recent solar eclipses, and a lot of different alignment from a astrological level as well as the planetary level, but also on the level of the people, as above, so below. So where do you see us right now when it comes to this thing called the Great Awakening?
Well, most of the people are not going to wake up without the information dump. The information dump is the shock and awe that's going to wake up what we call the normies, the NPCs, right? But when the solar,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Break that down.
9-player characters, Mr. Smith agents. They think they're working for the people, but they're agents for the system. Right? They're just going along to get along. But the ones of us that see what's going on, we don't want to go along and get along. We rebellious, resistant, antagonistic. We reject it. We won't accept it. We like, no, this ain't right. But the other people, they was like, come on, man, let's just go to work. And we over here talking about fuck your job, your electric company, your gas company, your mailman, your policeman. We love the fire department. I ain't never heard of F the fire department song. So they called us outlaw tribes because we wouldn't do business with them. We wouldn't sign contracts to be under their jurisdictional authority. Because of that, they decided to assert their jurisdiction regardless of our wishes. Right? And they used $5 Indians made chiefs by the president or presidential decree to sign treaties. I have not seen one treaty with Chief Little River running. I have not seen one Standing Bear walking. I haven't seen the treaty with Big Elk standing, Thundercloud raining. None of them tribal names that we used to call the chiefs, I don't see none of them on the treaties. All I see is Mr. Smith and them from over there in Europe. Right? They signing them with Jose Feliciano and all them motherfuckers from Spain. Right? So I ain't seen no treaties with no chief's name on it. And then the ones that they did have a chief name on it, most of the time it had an X and somebody else put the name there. So they just think we supposed to fall for any old thing. Some of us ain't buying a narrative. Some of us been knowing the people on this land so many lifetimes that we know when something ain't right with them, and we know where to start looking. We knows it. I want to know why my tribes ain't doing what tribes normally do. Why they not out there sea walking and bee walking, hoover stomping and ballroom dancing and boots on the ground where your fans, it ain't enough of them out there yet. So something is not kosher because whatever is going on is making them deviate from their natural order of their cultures. But you can still see it seeping through the pores of the society because the society has no culture without these darkies at the bottom. Sorry to tell you.
Whoa.
All the American culture came from us. Mississippi Delta, dressing, all that old flashy stuff, that's New Orleans culture. New York was a whole different culture. They was all about big furs and shit.
Frank Lucas,
where New Orleans was about cotton suits and wool suits and stuff. They wasn't, it's a whole different vibe, but the characteristics of the underlying culture still seeps through. You see the LA influence on the New Orleans culture when the pimps dress up. Who taught them how to dress like that? What made them pick the colors they picked? What is they trying to prove? They live in the culture, right? If you tell a prince he can't be a prince, the closest thing to that, he's gonna be a pimp.
That part. Yeah.
Pimping ain't easy.
Not at all.
But the master mastered the mastery of mastery in order to master the masters that mastered him first.
We might need... We got it. we might need to run
in
that
other
back.
words, in the lingo, in pimp lingo, you ain't no hoe without no bottom bitch. You ain't got no hoes, you ain't got no bottom bitch. You ain't no pimp. The street life is taught to the players and the hustlers by the women. They teach us how to survive in this condition based on the circumstances around us. Everybody that called themselves a pimp or a Mac was turned out by a woman. He didn't make himself that. But we don't like to talk about that part. We just like to beat up the pimps and the Macs for exploitation of the women. But we didn't know that it take a woman for him to even have credibility with the other hoes.
That's fact.
That's street life. Where Randy Crawford say, street life, the only life I know. Right? What Bobby Womack say, across 110th Street? I'm telling you, it's the culture, man. We cold talking in the music, in their face, behind their back, just like they was using signs and symbols to talk in our face, behind our back.
Yeah. Look, I heard the dog pound, and this is for the G's, and this is for the hustlers. This is for the hustlers. I'm back to the G's.
don't forget that Atlanta Pimpalicious to what was the Outcast.
Hey, oh yeah, Southern Playalistic Cadillac. Hold on, Spody Odie Dopalistic Angel is Southern Playalistic Cadillac fucking music. Yes sir. Already.
What about 8Ball and MJG? Well, we just gonna forget that they was dropping them. A good damn man. I'm a good damn man, and them cool and ball holes, and now take all niggas to school. What?
They were space age pimping. Oh, and
space age pimping. They was doing it for the new millennium, baby. They knew the age was gonna change, so they had to upgrade the game. 8Ball rolling, and them other suckers is folding. It's all in the lingo, man. It's just like learning how to shoot the hoops. It's in the flick of the wrist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's facts.
The only difference in the language is a flip with a twist.
Yes, sir. Man, listen.
They telling you the story right in everybody's face, but you just think it's a love song.
Yeah. Especially even Snoop, that first Snoop. Well, hey, what was it? Doggy Style?
Hip Juice.
Oh man. Yeah. Memories.
Jenny Juice was his breakout song.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Listen, look, we having a flashback. Look, who was I was just hearing somebody was just talking about time traveling. I'm trying to think who was I talking to. But anyway, yeah, like we time traveling a little bit. Look, we ain't even get a warm up tonight, family. We came in hot, boy. Big Chief. Hey,
Busy Bone Big Chief out of his territory.
I remember you was telling me that. I think we talked
Man,
about it.
Busy is the guy. Busy, all of the bones, they different levels of chief, but Busy is the big chief from where he from.
And they from what, Cleveland, right? East 90.
I think so.
Yeah, I think they from Cleveland, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, man. Yeah, we ain't playing tonight, family. We diving right in. We going hard. Ain't no chaser or nothing. Just straight shots. Put some hair on your chest tonight, boy. Shout out to brother B Dell, man. Hey, he came in and did his thing the other day. I was chopping it up
I
with him.
told you, man, P. Dell, nice with it.
Oh, all right, man. Listen, it was crazy because
he wasn't ready for 607 Monk because he's supposed to be able to handle him. Because 607 Monk be so sincere. Even if he be wrong, he be so sincere. So when somebody that's sincere, you're supposed to be able to handle him. But you know, Uncle unruly. You got to be ready for the unruly elder because he gonna come through. He gonna chief crazy horse you. He gonna hit you with some ODB stuff from out of the blue.
Listen, what we talked about last show when I was talking about keeping that rage in or whatever, you was like, out of the darkness out of the chaos comes the light. Out of the darkness, I was like, yeah, boy.
Yeah, love and light was created in triple darkness. The love and light was created in triple darkness because if it wasn't, you wouldn't even know it exists.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
The love is the light that guides your way through the darkness. That's why you got to search for the heart of gold. Some of these people got hearts of mold. Shit is all crusty and shit. They don't do the stuff to make their heart feel good, so they don't have no maintenance going on their golden heart. It's just collecting moss.
Oh. The heart of mold. God, that sound like, look, it just smell like mothballs and stench of, you know what I'm saying? like old funk, man. Like, oh man.
You can tell because they got a bitter character.
Yeah.
Always mad about something.
Yeah. It's a lot of that going on too, man. It is, you know, like, and I look at it like you gotta work on the love, man, because that's where, you know, the energy is at. Like, we talking about the Great Awakening and we talking about elevation, we talking about like the fifth dimension and all that. That ain't gonna fly on that level of frequency, is it? In regards to this moldy heart.
This is the biochemical circulation of the love energy. Your heart chakra is blocked. You need to turn on your heart chakra, but you can't do it yourself. If you a man, you need what's called a mitochondrial representative to co-sign you to open your heart chakra, that you ain't gonna lose your mind when you download this energy. Right? This is the baptism by fire. Because you start going through everything a woman go through in menopause. There's hot flashes and the cold spells, and you be wanting to put a blanket around you, then you be wanting to go stand in front of the fan with the blanket wrapped around you, because the energy of opening that chakra is, every cell is controlled by mitochondria. That's the power source of the cell. That means that God entered physical form by way of mitochondria. So if you don't have a host because you are riding MF, then you don't have nobody that represents you. Your mitochondria get turned off with the solar flare.
Yeah, and that's a real thing too, man. On a serious note, because when we look at that, there's so many restrictions that we're putting on ourselves, or we're allowing ourselves to be restricted by. And it's funny that you say that, because I was talking to, I don't know if I was in live or days running together now, but it was about parasites and hosts, right? There's no way that a parasite like a mosquito or a flea or a tick, they can't survive without a host, right? So the people who are continuously in this vicious cycle of negativity and always woe is me and the self-limited beliefs and all that, you're giving more food and more energy and more ashe to the parasite that's feeding off of you, whether it's a spiritual parasite, whether it's a physical parasite from the diet, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. So when it comes to that, and we know the solar flares and the sun and everything is kind of like getting rid of and detoxifying from a lot of this stuff, where's we going to go next? Because after we did, I think 2 shows ago, we spoke about like the planet getting rid of a lot of these parasites, and we spoke about the solar flares, and lo and behold, I think like a couple days later I saw you post something about the big solar flare. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like,
look, they've been singing the sun and the earth been having a whole love song duet.
Man, listen.
So what happens when the energy hit the core of the earth from the solar flare? The earth responds by sending out a Schuman blast. The Schuman blast is the codes for the DNA. The women with the original blood get the first upgrade. But wait till them ones with sickle cell get their upgrade.
So are you telling me brother was on to something with that? I figured there was something more to that.
Yeah, sickle cell is designed. Okay, it was originally created by Enki to combat a plague of malaria that was put out by his brother Enlil. Right, and it was one of the 7 deadly winds. You know, one of them was malaria. There actually was plagues, and the worst one is the nuclear winter deadly wind. But they all talked about it in the Sumerian tablets. Right? So when upgrades come in from the earth, it's going to trigger them different. And the sickle cells is going to upgrade to some stuff that they going to have some extra stuff that the rest of us don't got. You know that they made a series called Supercell based on what they know is going to take place when the sickle cell people start to upgrade. Now remember, it's an exaggeration in the movie, right? So fine tune it, just turn it down where it's not so exaggerated, and you'll start to see what the capabilities are. It's the same with the X-Men. X-Men is about the activation of the ones that they call primordials.
The ancients?
Right? The ancient ones. Right? The same ones Empress Verdiasi wrote about in Return of the Ancient Ones. And from there, what happens is the codes come in. This is why they tell you the only time that the DNA changes is through solar radiation. Because the solar radiation is programming the Earth's magnetic core to put out a frequency to upgrade the DNA. So you see it playing out in the play between Schumann resonance and solar radiation, solar flares, solar winds, solar storms. They all do something different. So they calibrating because a bunch of people about to get turned off. They don't need to be here. They're wasting it.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember we spoke about that on one of the last episodes too. Because I remember when you mentioned something in regards similar, I remember the first thing that came to my mind was like when you're traveling somewhere too far away from Wi-Fi, where you don't have access to the, you know, to the internet. It's like your phone pretty much dead. Even if you got a full battery, without access to that Wi-Fi, you ain't no communication going on up in that thing.
No communication going on. You might be able to get satellite communication from the phone company. And then there's certain places where that don't even reach. So your phone just dead.
Yeah. Kind of like when you go on a cruise. Like when you go out on a cruise and you get out there in all that water, if the boat, you know, ain't providing that Wi-Fi, man, you kind of stuck. That's crazy.
Dr. Clark said, can't wait to get my t-shirt and trucker's hat.
Yeah, appreciate you, family. I think you grabbed some off the website. Definitely appreciate the love and support, man, for sure, brother Arthur. But man, listen, so now when we talk about, and there was a comment earlier that I saw, I'm gonna bring back a little bit later because it was an excellent comment. I think it was Cola. I got you. I starred your comment, so I'm gonna come back to it. But when we come to where we are, like in regards to these upgrades, the solar flares, the Schumann resonance and all that, a lot of people are coming into consciousness that are just awakening. And some people like want to know, what is the awakening? What can I expect if I'm going through an awakening? Like, what is that? Like, what does that look like from someone
you can't, everybody gonna be slightly different. And two people may be drastically different, where two people might just be barely different. But it's going to depend on how much of their shadow work already done. The less shadow work you done, the hard and the less cleanses you've done, the harder your symptoms are. Right. But the more you already been working on the path, they milder. They not as taxing on you as the people because what's happening is they're getting drugged in the tailwind of an awakening of beings that's ahead of them. So they getting drugged. Remember Rakim say, a brother said, dig him, I never dug him. He couldn't follow the leader long enough, so I drug him. They getting drugged behind in the tailwind, just like debris in the meteorite tail.
Rakim alive to God, boy. Yes, sir.
You to go, baby.
The prophecy professor. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, we bringing out all the vinyls, the cassettes, the CDs. Like we bringing out all the eras tonight. That's dope. Okay. All right. So everybody's awakening process is different. Everybody's ascension is different. So for those who are new in regards to like just trying to be in this consciousness, field or space, whatever you want to call it, how important, or is it important or significant, is different items like crystals when you talk about awakening and balancing your energy, your chakras, all that? Crystals, how does that do crystals play a role? And is there anything we could do with crystals that kind of can help maybe magnify?
It depends on the individual, right? But some people need stones. Crystals will take longer. But other people need crystals because the stones take longer. Right? Other people need to use candle magic because both of the other two methods take longer. Right? So everybody got a natural drive to practice their own individual spiritual expression. Some do it through art, some do it through science, some do it through history research, some do it through religious devotion. But you got to find what worked for you. It ain't no panacea, ain't no one pill, but it's like techniques. And then you practice with different techniques until you find what worked for you. It's just like if you go to India, it's 1,000 different schools of different types of meditation.
Right.
You got Kriya Yoga, Hatha Yoga, you got Raja Yoga. When you get done, you have to find the system that can help you awaken yourself in the dream. Whatever system works for you, and you will see results like your life will begin to smooth out. You get less resistance the further you go, but when you first take off, you get all the resistance in the world to make sure you want to go that way.
Yeah. That's so real. I share that with so many different people when it comes to starting anything. I don't care if you want to write a book, you want to start a podcast, you want to start a clothing line, start a business, whatever. That's the hardest part, is to start, but then to take them punches when it comes, whatever the process is, because there's nothing I've ever done that didn't come with a fight every single time, either right before I launched or right after I launched, to kind of try to pull you back and say, you sure you want to ride this ride? You know what I mean? So it's like, you said something with that. That's real. So
look, I seen this little sister. She could have been about 8, maybe 10, and she was in a track meet. And out the gate, she lost her shoe, flipped, rolled over, grabbed her shoe, put her shoe back on, got up, caught the other girls, passed them, and won the race.
I love it.
She already understood the assignment.
I love that.
Just because you fell down don't mean that you still can't win the race.
No, sir.
Just because you lose your shoe don't mean you still can't win the race.
No, sir.
It boils down to how well have you prepared yourself to win the race, and what odds can you defeat based on the training that you put in. And that's the same with anything that you decide you want to do. Some of the best writers start off writing crap.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's musical writers, like if you listen to some of Tupac early stuff, it sounds basic as that. Basic as hell. But when you listen to his later stuff, his ambitions as a writer, White Man's World, his delivery flow, his pen had all developed. You've seen the maturity of him in his writing style if you didn't see it in his persona.
That's facts.
Right? LL been doing it longer consistently than anybody else in hip-hop history.
Yeah. And still can get
every
in the
time L drop an album, he gonna be at least double to triple platinum.
Yeah.
And what happened? He get blocked out of Def Jam, the label that he helped build from scratch. Right? But his skill set never diminished. His ability to make songs that can move them sisters to go dance like Around the Way girls, that hasn't changed. He still has that skill set. But the industry say we don't want to promote guys that can still deliver into their 40s and 50s. That's why they had to get rid of Mike and Prince. Because they were still controlling the industry, but their presence being in the industry. If Michael Jackson dropped a single, he was going to sell 20 million or more out the gate.
All day, every day.
Right? And Prince had a consistent 10 million following. He could sell 10 million records at any given time, depending on what he dropped.
And can do it with no promotion. He can drop one tomorrow.
He got enough stuff in the vault that he got recorded that he can continue to drop albums for years to come, and we won't never hear the same Prince song twice. We thought Tupac was prolific. Everybody around Prince say he recorded at least one song every day, but some days he recorded as many as 5 for years. Oof. Just imagine the 3-year stretch of doing that.
I ain't working hard enough.
And that was part of his fight with Warner Brothers because they felt like they own that too. He was like, y'all didn't never pay for none of the studio time on that stuff. How you think you own that too?
Right.
It got nothing to do with your contract.
Yeah.
You know? And he was ready for him because it didn't take him but filed a lawsuit, dropped the album, Slave. My name is no longer Prince. Recognize me as this symbol now. Because they're using symbols to lie to us, I'm going to use this symbol to tell y'all the truth.
Prince was woke.
He been like that. See, one thing is, people don't understand about Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't do nothing else. They study the governmental systems they work under. And they all warned about contracts. Because the system is the devil that's contracting you to give up your intellectual property.
That part.
And when the industry get done with you, it's the same thing Frantz Fanon said. He said the establishment, but with all its rewards that they may give you in order to maintain their control will also kill you. That's straight out of Frantz Fanon. He telling you that they'll reward you when they can control you, but when you're not controllable, your reward can very well be your life.
Are we not seeing that with Kanye? Is that a similar thing we're seeing?
Kanye is a super genius. He's something like Pinky in the Brain on some take over the world stuff. But everybody think he crazy, so they're not gonna realize what he doing until afterwards, years later.
Yeah, because he been doing it. That's the thing. Like, I don't know, and I never was a big Kanye fan, but when he dropped the Graduation, I was like, oh, okay. I thought he was just another producer who wanted to rap. But when he dropped the Graduation,
no, on that the first one was College Dropout, and that whole album was fire.
Yeah, that one was straight too.
He didn't start dropping what we call taste eclectic music until after he split from Jigga. Right? Then he started going what they call flamboyant with it. He was over the top with it. He exaggerated everything he was doing in order to draw the required attention.
Yeah.
You know, you go back and look at some of the symbolism of his videos, He's telling you in one video that the Egyptian gods return. But we don't know what he talking about because he's using the symbols that come straight out of those secret societies. Then what about niggas in Paris?
Yeah, Power was another one.
Right?
Remember
Niggas
that?
in Paris significance is that's the city of Isis. Paris means short for Parthenon of Isis. So when he telling you it's niggas in Paris, he telling you that it's a bunch of mama's boys fighting for mama to get back on the throne. Right? So that's why at the end, and they say, what do you say about the gorillas? And then my man was like, yeah, but it's more provocative than that.
I can't remember. Yeah. I know he had some comedy in all his albums, though. I do remember that.
But when after they dropped niggas in Paris, what Jigga dropped? Him and Bay dropped Ape Shit. They been telling them, watch out for this gorilla nigga. They ain't talking about 50 Cent. They ain't talking about? We already know who 50 Cent is.
Who they talking about?
They talking about the king of the gorillas. Morpheus in general. Morpheus Hitler, the bitch nigga cleanser. The worst of the outlaws.
I remember the first time I heard that, oh yeah, buddy, I'm here for all of it, man. I'm here for every last second of it. Yes, sir. Oh man.
The tribes have structure that we don't remember. But whenever we remember how we communicate with each other, we can rebuild. Right? We can't start putting stuff together till we tear their system apart from the inside out. They came and they landed Plymouth Rock on us. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Malcolm told you. But we didn't know that the Plymouth was the good ship Mayflower. The Mayflower is actually the Plymouth. So when they filed their claim for their salvage rights, they say we crashed our landmass into their ship. In other words, we landed our Plymouth Rock on their ship. They're saying that we didn't know how to navigate our landmass. Then they left a rock there to commemorate it. You can look this up. This is actual historically recorded.
And I'm laughing at the level of idiocracy and fuckery that's like infused into but it's real. That's the craziest part about it though.
But a lot of the truth is said in jest. Go back to that movie with Gregory Hines and Mel Brooks, History of the World. They tell you about the Great Inquisition in the movie. Then they show them playing chess with the people, using real people to play chess. It's just an exaggerated comedy of what's really taking place.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we're seeing that in a lot of entertainment or entertainment. A lot.
Because they got to give us an opportunity to put the puzzle together. If they conceal it from us, they violate galactic law, which makes them subject to the return energies of karma. But if they tell us and we don't say nothing, that means we agree to it. That means that they don't have a karmic debt to pay. And then we end up getting the suffering because we taking our suffering as pre-karma in order to endure the suffering that he's doing without receiving karma. Because you can't misuse the righteous without the righteous receiving a righteous reward for a righteous work. Right? So then they put restrictions on us. We got to educate ourselves out of the condition. We can't take them to bloody war. But they cheating. They using assassination under the pretext of crowd control. The people we fighting have to look like us because they keep infiltrating our organizations and making sure that our leadership is neutralized, killed, destroyed, right? And then our people, we want our leadership to be squeaky clean. If he caught a traffic ticket, that's a scandal.
Oh yeah.
We love gossip so much. Oh, we couldn't wait to show you that I knew that nigga wasn't no good. He caught a traffic ticket.
Where does that come from? Because that's one of the things, first and foremost, I don't condone. I don't have any support whatsoever of the stuff that's going on with Diddy. I don't even give a damn about the entertainment industry. But I remember speaking out about one of the things I couldn't stand is like how many of us couldn't wait to jump in the fight, curb stomping him while he was down. That's not cool, because I didn't see that same energy with Epstein. I didn't see it with Trump when he was going through, like, I didn't see that. So where does that come from where we feel so comfortable with curb stomping another brother?
Because we know that the people we fighting look like us, but they ain't us. So they show us who they are by the stuff that they allow themselves to be involved in. Right? And then when one of them fall, or when one of us fall, it don't matter. The fact that the enemy look like us, but they ain't us, make us shake them like a pack of ravenous dogs. You gonna get this work. I don't care if you Puffy. I don't care if you Jay-Z. You gonna get this work. I don't care if you Biggie. You gonna get this work, because we needed somebody to say, I told you that nigga wasn't gonna make it. That's side effect of the war. We've been hearing our parents and grandparents telling us for the whole time. You ain't from no. You tell my mama we from Africa, she's up to punch you in your nose. Right? We ain't from no Africa. And my daddy will always tell us the tribal story of his grandmama hair being down to her ankles. That is a sign of rank. That is a sign of diligence and dedication. The ones that grew their hair to the ankle. My mom used to have a fit when the girls in the family cut their hair, because she understood the power mechanics behind the women with the long hair. They was always promoted to prominent positions in the tribe because the hair was antennas and they had psychic abilities. Right. This is why they always talk about Medusa's hair was snakes. It was dreadlocks, but she was zapping their ass with static electric energy, popping them in the face with it. And when they talking about a man see her and turn to stone, that's right, because she was so fine, he just can't do nothing but stand there and look at him like, God damn, look at her, man. Yeah, he turned to stone just long enough for her and them Gorgons to behead his dumb ass.
Hey, you asked for it, sometimes you got to pay the price.
Rome decided to conquer Greece. Greece was ran by the three sisters called the Gorgons. Right? The leader of the Gorgons was ranked 10 in the Assar priestesses, Medusa. Medu is 10 in Kemetic. They tell you that Greece was settled by Kemetic priestesses and princesses, right? And Rome was settled by a strange group of people called Etruscans that then got ran across the desert sands. But we don't want to talk about that, because we want to believe everybody look like us, the same people. But these people ain't us.
How do you pronounce that? What do you say, Etruscans?
Etruscans.
Etruscans. So who are those Etruscans? Because I don't know if I've heard.
That's the root stock that founded Rome. Before it was Rome, most of Italy was called Tuscany. And it was being ran by who we call today the Dirty Moors. We had to make a distinction because people need to understand that two different groups under the George Washington Challenge was classified as Moors, but they two distinctly different people. But the challenge was at the end of the 200 years, who's going to educate themselves above the condition to see what side of the water is he originally from? Then we going to be fed misinformation, falsehood. I tell you this in the George Washington Challenge. They going to lie to us. Then the Rockefellers double down on it and say we going to miseducate them. And all of this stuff could be found also in the Protocols of Zion. They say that it's a mythological text, but everything in that book is everything the Zionists is doing to this day. So you can't tell me the book made up when you following every play in the book to a fault. Right? So then the operational manual become the morals and dogma of Albert Pike. Right, and when they lay out the war strategies to keep the people so distracted, they won't be able to realize who they is because they be too busy fighting wars. Little do they know we warriors. That's just gonna wake us up faster.
Yep, there's that. There is that. Shout out to, I think it's Gaga Gecko, said that they want to get a deeper insight on karma. Can you kind of tap into that? In regards to, because that's what's going on.
Karma is simple. It all boils down to the law of magic. That which you put out, you will receive back. If you put in a bad energy, a corrupted energy, you're gonna get a bad and corrupted energy back. Only it's gonna be magnified.
Sevenfold.
Right? It's all it is the law of return. That's why when you trying to be a good person, sometimes being a good person requires you to pop them up in the snot box. They don't want to tell you that that's part of being a good person. Refusing to let somebody abuse you and take advantage of you and the ones you love, and you whoop that ass, that's part of being a good person. Being passive is only functional when you got people that respect the passive doctrine. But when they don't respect the passive doctrine and they take passivity for weakness, they still gonna try to abuse you. But when they realize that you are not passive, you just operating by code of ethics. And these code of ethics say that if you don't bother me, I'm not bothering you. But if you bother me, I'm effing you up. Fuck around and find out if you want to.
That part. Yeah.
100 men versus a gorilla. Why would they go bother that gorilla when he was in the jungle by himself, minding his own business, being peaceful?
That was a real thing. I kept hearing stuff about. Was that real? Did they really do that?
No, they been. Well, we would have been having 100-man funeral. But just to even think along them lines, right? To go bother that gorilla while he minding his own business, unless they gonna get a sedated tame one, and that don't count. Yeah. Go out there where the gorilla got to fight lions and leopards to protect his clan, and then you ain't got to attack him. Attack his clan. He gonna help you figure out that 100 of y'all ain't enough. Matter of fact, take 50 of y'all and run up on the chimp.
Yeah,
he gonna pick up a stick and go to whooping y'all like y'all stole something.
Man, a chimp will rip your face off. I remember, I'll never forget. I know I'm not the only one that heard that story, but probably, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 10 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago. But anyway, I remember there was a lady up there in like Boston or somewhere, man, had a pet chimp, and the chimp messed around and flipped and ripped her face off, bro. And that's a chimp. Chimps don't get that big. I mean, they still
get 160, 170 pounds, and they still stronger than the average man. They stronger, 6 times stronger than the average man.
That's the part that I'm talking about. So, okay, now 160-pound man run up on you, it probably could be an easy day in the park, depending on if he got Bruce Lee's type skills, depending on how your skills are. But a chimp, though, I'll say a 70-pound chimp can probably rip your face off. Like, for real.
But that's the first thing he doing anyway. Right? He coming from thick-faced Blackheart out the gate. The deep black theory. Chinese philosophy to treat people a certain way. He coming in trying to bite your face off because you're not gonna save face with no chimp. He gonna make show of it. But here go the thing: if you raising a chimp, they so family oriented. You have to be seriously abusing the chimp to make you flip out on the person in the clan.
Somebody did something because he ripped the face off.
And you know, them people be freaky. Ain't no telling what she was doing to that chimp. I'm just keeping it 100. Them people be trying to get them animals and be playing with their genitals and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a different kind of fun house, man. You know, it's definitely some.
Man, look, I just seen chicks whole blue jeans turn wet just looking at a horse. Genitals. I'm just being 100. No telling what she did to that chimp. He probably told her not that whole. He done bit her face off.
Man, yeah, he took the face off. Like, I mean, I don't even. I think they had.
They notorious for that though. A chimp attack. 90% of chimp attacks, the first thing they going for is your face. Because he believed that you're not gonna save face fighting with him. So he gonna make sure that's the first thing he do. Make sure you don't save face. Ain't no save face. Don't mess around and let it be a bellyache. That's that big old chimp that look like he half gorilla.
You talking about the one that like Caesar from
yeah, they call it bellyache.
Yeah, Caesar boy. Caesar like he'll let things loose on you now.
Hey, I ain't for sure Caesar ain't no Bruce Lee martial arts.
Listen, look, boy, Caesar like he about that life, man. He said he letting things go real quick, for real. Listen, yeah, we going in, family. We definitely going in. We ain't even. JP, we talked about that in the earlier in the episode. I mean, in the live. You probably, if you catch the replay, we talked about the solar flare. But yeah, it's real. So when we talk about some of these, like the people who are very advanced, like before we came on air, we were talking about the presence of brothers kind of like B-Dell. Shout out to brother B-Dell, like who are super advanced, far beyond their age. And I see this even with working with the young kings, like teenagers. Matter of fact, I had a conversation today where I was blown away and amazed because one of the brothers was saying about a situation that he was in. But what amazed me is the fact that he was able to break down how he saw, he could have done better by making a better decision to not get him in the situation he was in. But the way he broke it down was dope because he literally was using he used critical thinking, he used emotional intelligence, he used accountability to, paint the picture as to how he could have dealt with that situation, different. I'm like, bro, it's people I know, I'm 44, it's people I know my age and older who don't have the, the cognition to kind of put that together like that. So that right there tells me just how brilliant some of our young people are. So when you see young brothers like
not only that, when they able to examine the problem like that, whatever the situation they got, it's teaching them.
Yep.
It's teaching them. They just needed to experience something in order to say, how could I have handled that better? What could I have done different? If I'd have did this, how would it have played out? And then they can go to the next situation and use everything they learned from the situation that they effed up.
Yep. Yeah. Call lessons, man. That's what I say. It ain't no such thing as a loss. There's a lesson. You got to take that.
It's only a loss if you don't learn from it.
There you go. That part. And look, my philosophy is I do my best not to learn the same lesson twice. I don't want to learn none of the hard ones, but damn it, if I learn it, I ain't trying to learn it again. For real. I think I already.
I've been hard. I've been. What my man say? Yep, I'm hard headed, and nope, I don't learn. And look, I'm telling you, they think they're hard headed. That ain't no cool stuff. Because I'm one of the most hard headed in the family.
I know that's right.
But once I get the lesson, I got that MF there. I got that lesson. That lesson ain't going nowhere because the way that I'm gonna go approach the problem, once I learn the lesson from it, I ain't gonna forget it because I know it's gonna hurt.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
Emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, some kind of way it's gonna hurt. And the worst ass whooping to get is a spiritual ass whooping.
Yeah, we talked about that. Look, I know I had one for sure, and I damn sure ain't trying to have another one. I can promise you that. No. I don't want none of it. No parts. Not yesterday, not today or tomorrow.
Keep the words of the brother.
Yes, sir. Man,
Brother, how you make him get down? Professor Overseer, I got Pip in my crown.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, listen, we got a whole full tribe. Look, we got the whole club going up on a Tuesday tonight, buddy. We finna go all the way in. Yes, sir. Yeah, but that's real though. Them chimps ain't nothing to play with. I don't even know where that foolishness came from. I think it was some
wild animals. Wild animals, you got to be a special kind of Southern strong to fend off most wild animals. A bobcat will tear your tail up. A bobcat, he weigh about 40 pounds. That bobcat will tear your tail. A mountain lion, 80 to 160 pounds, will tear your tail up.
I think I seen one of them walking in my neighborhood, bro, because when you said a bobcat, this was bigger than 40 pounds. I'm like, yo, he must have been a young mountain lion. I'm looking, I'm like, man, listen, like, bro, you stay over there, I'm gonna stay over here, boy, because you come this way.
Well, you know, a bobcat and a lynx look almost exactly alike, except one bigger than the other one.
I'm not sure which one this was. I guess whichever one's the bigger one, because it definitely was bigger than 40 pounds. I had never been that close to a cat that size in the public, like, you know what I'm saying, like walking anywhere. The only thing I seen something like that before was in a zoo. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo.
Bass walked up to my friend though.
A what?
Bast. The goddess Bast. She was in her panther form. Walked up to the front door, came from the cemetery. Walked up, made a left turn, looked up in the doorway at me and kept on going. I was like, holy shit. But she wasn't there in the physical.
Wow.
But she thrown herself to me and scared the hell out of me because I'm like, when did we get Black Panthers walking down the streets of Pontiac?
On like 2 feet? Or like
4 feet.
Okay.
Look like a full-grown Black Panther. Then when I said that to myself, I'm like, when we get Black Panthers walking around the streets of Pontiac? She looked up at me and then I heard her say, quit playing with me. You know what this is.
Listen, man, look, okay. That's deep because let me bring this I'm gonna bring this up first because I knew somebody knew better than knew. Yes, just the A said they worked in the hospital where the lady was transported when she sustained that. Yeah, I knew it was a real thing because I remember. I think I had.
Yeah, they said they bit off more than half her face and some of her fingers.
Bro, I remember the story because I think I had just got up there. Like I wasn't too far from where it happened when it happened. Like I had just flew in, I think the same day, bro. I saw it on the news. I'm like, yo, y'all better leave them goddamn animals alone, boy. You stop playing with them, man. For real.
Look, they forget that the gorilla ain't gonna just box them. He gonna be biting them, kicking them, throwing them. Look, they found scenes where gorillas and ripped lions wide open.
Somebody just put that in the chat. They say they hunt lions. And look, I done seen them at the zoo. Them jokers, man, I don't want nothing to do with that, bro. As a matter of fact, I got to have the whole arsenal with me to even, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know how many gonna take to knock him down. Because them jokers, they brolic, bro. Like they big, like big. Like I'm like they body probably wide as like 3 of me, huh?
You ever see two gorillas fight?
I've seen it online. I never seen it in person, but we got a zoo not too far from me, and I've seen them. They ain't nothing to play with.
When they be hitting each other, it be sounding like Mike Tyson hitting a heavy bag, and it don't even be phasing them.
Yeah, I don't want none of it. I'm screaming.
And then they don't really use their hands like that. They use their forearms and elbows to do forearm and elbow strikes like professional wrestlers. Man, every time they hit somebody in the head, one of the forearms, their neck broke.
Yeah, I don't want none of it. I don't want none of it.
Look, but we had rites of passage, right? You got some tribes over here in the Americas. For their rites of passage, they had to take a knife and come back with a grizzly bear. That was their rites of passage to manhood. They had to figure out, all you got is this knife. You got to figure out how to kill that grizzly bear. And you can't cheat because somebody's shadowing you all the time. One of them old elders, the trackers, they watching you. You don't see them. They there. Ain't no cheating. Just like the Masai Mara. They rites of passage used to be go out and bring back a lion. That's where that custom came. Remember when Coming to America, James Earl Jones had that lion pelt? That's where that practice, that's originally a Masai Mara royal practice. They the ones who used to hunt the lions for the pelts, for their royalty. Part of their rites of passage to be able to get a king a lion pelt and the queen.
That's dope.
The Romans thought they was doing something fighting wolves.
Oh man!
You go out there and fight a lion, find out the difference real quick.
Real quick. Them things ain't no joke either. They huge. And
look,
those
you remember them dudes? You remember them dudes tried to strong arm Mike Tyson?
Come on, airplane.
They sued him. Look, I think he was in New Jersey at the shopping center. And they call it because he used to carry a briefcase with a whole lot of money in it with him everywhere he went when he was younger. Then he got out of prison. They figured they was gonna take his briefcase. Then go. Then they turned around and sued him.
Yeah, that's. Oh, man, I tell you. Boy, I tell you. Listen, I'm not running
so
up on my.
Look, they couldn't have been no little dudes thinking they gonna strong arm Mike Tyson. First and foremost, they figured that because they, had a little size on them, they probably gonna be able. Man, look,
Mike a different dude, man. That's a whole. I ain't got
okay.
time for
You gonna need 150 to 200 Mike Tysons to fight a gorilla.
I ain't got time for none of that.
Ain't no 100 regular guys finna go fight no gorilla.
Yeah, I ain't got time for it. No, sir. Yeah, you can have that. Yeah, they said tigers, jaguars, bears, yeah, all of them. Yeah, I ain't got. Nah, I'm cool. I'm good. I ain't messing with nothing.
They got a story in Paramahansa Yogananda got a book called Autobiography of Yogi. And it's a chapter called The Tiger Swami.
I think I got that book.
Man, that's one of my favorite books.
I think I got that book. Find it. But yeah, I think I got that, man. I ain't read it yet. I just got it not too long ago, actually. Yeah, I don't know where mine is, but I think I got it. It's a little brown book, like a little small. Mine's is like a small one. Like it's about like.
Yeah. It's a regular paperback. I want a hardcover edition. Yeah. It's thick though.
Yeah, I think I got that one. I gotta find it. I don't know where.
And he on the cover looking like a lady.
You got the long hair. I got this. I got it. I got that one. Yep.
Yeah, but people don't know the reason the priests be looking like that is because they be imitating the priestesses. All of those priests, the yoga, the Lama, Dalai Lama, all them supposed to be female seats. Ain't supposed to be no men in none of the priesthoods. But when the patriarchy took over, that's what they did. They dressed all of the priests up in dresses. And took the women out because they was too powerful when they learned how to control themselves like that. Give them a humdrum life where they can't concentrate their energy. But some of them, when they have that baby and become mother, they turn into a whole different creature.
Oh, yeah.
You can't lie to them. They got built-in LiDAR. They know when you lying. You come in, where you been? I was out with the fellas at the club. We was shooting some craps. She said, you was shooting craps lie. You was over Miss Martha's house. I know where you was at. I could smell her perfume on you.
Yeah. Hey, that's real too, man. Look, and you even see that in the animal kingdom. It's funny because I literally was watching that today. Like I don't know how like it is up there in regards to the types of birds, but where I'm at, I see like mockingbirds all the time. They be flying after crows and flying after hawks, like trying to fight them and trying to attack them. I guess because I know the hawks be eating their young. I don't know if the crows do too, but I see mockingbirds. They be going at it, and it's usually 2 of them or more. You know, they be trying to get after the bigger birds, I guess, to try to keep them away from the nest and eating their young. But they don't play.
All of those little birds that click up on a bird of prey, because all of them on the menu, not just their young, the ones flying around on the menu too. You'll see a peregrine falcon snatch one clean out the air.
Right. Man, I came home years ago. I went grocery shopping, and at my old house, I had a big palm tree in my front yard, right? And so I'm bringing the groceries in from the driveway into the house, and all of a sudden I'm seeing like feathers falling down from the tree. I'm like, what the fuck? So at first I'm thinking like it ain't no big deal. I just thought a couple feathers might just flew, you know, bird flying by or whatever. So after a couple trips, I'm still seeing these feathers dropping down from the tree. I go over there and look, bro, it's a doggone hawk tearing a little mockingbird up. And the sad part about it, it's not funny, but I guess it was either like the spouse or a family member, whoever, to the one that was getting ate, was still trying to like float around and peck around towards the hawk. I'm like, man, you better get your ass out of there before you be dessert, man, because you already see what's going on with
They don't play. Man. Look, they got a little bitty hawk in Michigan about the size of a pigeon. Might be smaller. I'm in the joint. I'm coming around this tree in the joint, and the birds in the tree going crazy. They blackbirds. This little hawk had a blackbird. He come out that tree. He had a blackbird in his talon bigger than him.
Yeah, bro. I seen one snatch.
And then all of the birds. Yep, all them birds come out like Alfred Hitchcock. The birds chasing him, and he just turned on the Hellcat on them.
Afterburners.
They couldn't even keep up.
Listen, I saw that one day too. I was taking my lunch break back when I used to drive trucks, and I remember I was parked in this like I don't know what kind of, it was like a gas station parking lot, because I was in the semi, so I couldn't go just anywhere. But anyway, I'm sitting there eating, I'm looking down, and out of my periphery, I saw a commotion in the air. I look up, I'll be damned if a hawk didn't snatch a crow out of the sky in mid-flight. Now, snatched him and pinned him down and started going to work. I said, oh no, it was a bad day for that poor crow. A bad day for him, man. But yeah, now that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, that's the power of that feminine energy, man. You don't want to mess around with it. Look, we just say mess around and find out. Well, for real.
And look, the woodpecker be pecking in Morse code.
What you mean by that?
You know what Morse code is, don't you?
Well, are you talking about like the cadence of it?
The woodpecker be pecking in Morse code.
That's crazy.
Once you know Morse code and you hear a woodpecker, you're going to be like, damn, I know what he's saying.
That's crazy. Wow. That's crazy.
Look, the animals is part of the collective intelligence of creation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We don't want to admit that they sentient.
I do. I know they are. Hell, man.
This is that's how you tune into the frequency of your totem matter, because they sentient.
And that goes back to what we were talking about a couple weeks ago when we were talking about our dogs. When I was talking about my dog, shout out to Nino Bishop Brown with his crazy ass up there in the Ancestral realm. But yeah, like, because for people who know Nino, like, they like, man, that dog, that ain't no dog, bro. That's a person. Like, Nino was crazy, but he was extremely intelligent though. Like, I mean, extremely intelligent, to the fact where even like years after he passed, when I was running to people who used to come to my crib for a house party or get together, whatever, they'd be like, man, how Nino done, man? He gone. Like, what? Like, I mean, it was like he was a member of the family, man, but he just had this personality that you had to love him. Like, he was like a person, bro. It was nuts. Like, and people didn't believe it.
My boy Bishop was his Bishop Majestic Black Magic. Look, they was like, he's a dog version of you.
That's how Nino was. And it's funny because the name is a real thing now, because I was debating when I saw him, he was Brindle Brown. I'm like, all right, I could go for Nino Brown, but then I was like, but I mess with Pac heavy. I'm like, nah, I think I like Bishop. So I don't know if I want to go with Bishop or Nino. So it's Nino Bishop Brown. That's what we're going to do. And boy, when I tell you, boy, he had all them characteristics, boy, Nino was wild. He was a wild boy. He was wild, boy, for real. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
okay.
man.
Brother Love said, can you talk about water magic? And we just was talking about magic. Water is a powerful conduit too.
Water is the physical representation of spirit. right? Water magic is some of the easiest magic to learn, right? And because you can imprint the water. And remember, the body is like 80% water, 75-80% water. Once you imprint the water can communicate with all water cells wherever water is. Right? So when they talk about water bending, they got shamans, especially Jamaicans. They got some Jamaican shamans that'll make the tides go out high tide. They make the right there while you're standing there. They come out there and make the high tide dissipate in the middle of high tide, and it'll look like it's low tide, and then they'll let the water come back.
That's deep. You know why? Because Wunam was just talking about that last Saturday. We did a live, and she was saying she used to do that. Like she said, and then I think she said she had her daughter's friend with her one day when she was doing it. Like she was making the waves the tide come in and out. And like when she was doing it, the little girl was like, "Are you doing that?" And she was like, "Yeah." She's like, "No, I don't think." And then she said she did it again. She's like the little girl couldn't believe it. That's deep. That's really deep.
And most of the reason why a lot of our abilities we don't believe is possible because we haven't seen anybody doing it.
Yeah.
Right. If we know that it can be done, that gives us the confidence to develop the faculty.
Yes.
You can't be a great thinker with an undeveloped mind.
That's facts.
Right. So you use tools like reading. You ain't reading for the information. You reading, that's weightlifting for the brain.
That's facts.
Right? And the more angles you can see, which each book give you a different perspective of life from a different person's perspective. Whether it's an information book, a novel, it don't matter. And how you perceive yourself in relation to the hero in whatever you read determines how well you can embody that information.
Yeah.
In the hero's journey, you tell you every time you see a hero in the movie, that's you. That's another aspect of you. You read about a hero in the book, you reading about another lifetime of you.
Yeah.
As soon as you start to embody the traits and characteristics of those heroes, then you start to develop into a universal soldier.
Yes, sir.
A soldier.
Didn't they have a movie out called Universal?
Yeah, with Van Damme.
I thought so, yeah. I thought that was a movie.
But I'm not talking about that kind of universal soldier. I'm talking about a soldier for the universe. The universe will be able to use you because you develop the faculty, the skill set. Yeah. A lot of people psychic, but since they don't know they psychic, they undeveloped psychics. So now they only get flashes here and there of inspiration and information, when if they train the faculty and master the faculty of whatever their psychic ability is, they would be able to access it easier. The more you understand your ability, the better you will be at controlling it. The more you can control it, the more access you have to it, right? You're not finna take a person that can barely drive a car and put them in an 18-wheeler. But if they learn to drive the car well enough, you'll be confident they can handle the 18-wheeler. But you ain't got no confidence if they ain't got no training.
Yeah. That's real. You know? I use that too. Like people who I teach, like in regards to like when it comes to divination and divining, right? That's something that I always speak to people about, because it's like you got to trust that intuition, because the more you trust it and the more that you're able to tap in, the more spirit is going to give you to, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like when you develop your credit score, right? The higher your credit score is, the more the bank going to give you for a house or for a car or whatever. It's the same way with spirit.
Slave you are. Because the better slave you are.
Right. But that's the same thing like when we talk about intuition too, though. You know what I mean? Like the more that you tap in and you're able to, spirit knows, so spirit going to give you more, because they know that, you know what I'm saying, you're taking the lessons and you're applying it to where it's almost like working out. The more you work out, the more, you know, you'll be able to max out, you know, depending on what your goals are in regards to working out. But that's facts.
Yeah. You ain't gonna go in the gym your first time lifting weights and just bench press 315 pounds.
Not happening.
Unless you retarded strong, Wilt Chamberlain strong or something.
Well, they say that old corn-fed country strong.
And look, that's a real thing.
Yeah. Oh, I seen it.
That's a real thing. They diet is totally different. They live off the fat of the land.
Yeah.
When them bad boys go out there, I done seen two of them grab an engine out of car with no pulley.
I had an uncle like that, man. He never worked out, didn't lift weights, none of that. But boy, when I tell you, he looked like the dude from Full Force, the big one, whichever had the ponytail. I had an uncle look just like, man. I'm telling you, he was big, just like that. But he never worked out, bro. Like, it was crazy because it's genetics. He never worked out.
That was a general characteristic of a lot of Mississippians too.
Yeah.
When you read the stories and they talk about like the story of John Henry, the story of Big John, them old Mississippians.
Wow.
When you listen to the description, standing 6'6", weighing 245, and everybody knew not to get no jive to Big John. Right?
Listen.
Dude, that's an old Mississippian all day long.
Yes, sir. Man, listen. Yeah. And shout out to Cat's Corner. I've done that before too, a lot with rain actually. Because you can talk to the weather. Like, I know personally, I've talked to the weather to get it to stop raining on multiple occasions. Matter of fact, earlier, was it this year? What's this? This is May. Like the end of last year, I was on a road trip and I did it with somebody in the car. And that's the first time I had ever done it with someone else present to actually witness it. But that's a real thing. If you have the proper intention or you believe in, your connection to the planet or to the elements of nature, you can manipulate the elements of nature just by the power of the tongue, which is a real thing.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I want to walk to the restaurant up the street. I'll say I'm going to get about 15 minutes to stop raining, and then it ain't going to rain until I get back home. And I go get my food, come back. The next thing I know, all the rain dumping out the sky.
Bro, I've done that multiple times, especially here in Florida, because it gets loose down here, man. Especially in the summertime, like it almost look like somebody in a bad one, like somebody standing on top of a house or a building with a water hose, just like that's how hard it come down here. So it's like I ain't trying to deal with that. So I learned that like early in my driving career, man. It's just like, yo, I can't be doing all that.
That's how you know you tied to your culture too. Them rain dances wasn't haphazard.
Yeah,
that was real. We can, especially the women. The women got a special connection with the earth. When they know who they are, they can come out there with the dance. Y'all can be gigging. The next thing you know, it's raining. But if you don't have the right people out there with the right frequency, you'll be out there dancing till you drop dead. Won't nothing happen.
And look, it's so funny you said that, because shout out to, let me find it. Somebody literally just said the same thing. They said you got to be, I think here it go. You have to be clean to do water magic. That's real. You got to have good intentions.
That's part of water magic. Cleanliness is part of water magic automatically anyway, because we all use water to cleanse the body.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So even your baths and your showers is water magic rituals. Is just, are you using them to perform magic, or is the magic enough that you got your body clean?
Yeah. Yeah, because if you know the proper incantations, boy, you can do a whole lot. You just being in the shower. If you know how to activate the right, the right energies and the right entities, boy, that's a real.
And the temperature of the water matter too.
Yeah, well, even like when you think about, for those who are in like the indigenous or African spiritual tradition, anything that has to do with a spiritual tradition that is ancestral. Everything that we do, we begin with the water to open up any ceremony. It doesn't matter, even if you're doing like a little divination or a little, dropping
opening libations.
Every single thing we do. So it's like that within itself, to me, like somebody was saying that water is a conduit and that it's real. Because you probably know it, the Asian brother who made he had it was a dope like a experiment he did where he was able to show that water actually can respond to communication, verbal communication, and vibrations and all that shifts based upon the energy or the intentions that you speak over the water, right? So it's like I can't think of his name, but it was a dope.
I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah, I can't think of his name, but yeah, that's
Because
a
he was
real
in
thing,
all them
man.
journals.
Real.
He was in all those journals for showing the effect that our intentions have on water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's real. It's a real thing.
Yeah, he had a group of people go to a polluted water pond and start telling the water to heal the water, and the water started healing the water, and the pollution was gone and like at a real rapid pace of time.
Let me ask you this. This is something that just kind of popped into my little head in regards to, and I'm pretty confident you got some insight on this. What is the power in collective consciousness? Not necessarily consciousness, but like collective prayer or collective visualization? Because there's also these reports that I've seen, and I think, what's the name? Dr. Joe Dispenza. He talks about like the power of group, you know what I'm saying? Like meditations and being able to have like visualizations in a collective manner, to where how you can create a magnified shift even across the globe if you have enough people who lock in on a specific target and meditate on it and visualize whatever outcome it is that they want to kind of have manifest and unfold. What's the significance of that?
So it goes back to a principle you'll find in the Bible: when two or more are gathered together in my name, I am present also. Right? That's the great egregore. If you read Napoleon Hill's Law of Success in 16 Lessons, he got a chapter in there called Building the Mastermind Group. And
didn't he have that in Think and Grow Rich too? Because I read that before, but I didn't read that book.
The Think and Grow Rich is the condensed version.
Oh, okay. Because I read Think and Grow Rich. That was probably one of my first personal or self-help books I think I ever read. It was a good book.
The Mastermind Group, when you get a group of people together, they create an egregore. He don't call it an egregore. But this egregore is a thought form that's made up by the common group dynamic produces this particular egregore with all of their skill sets involved in it. It goes also to Gustave Le Bon wrote a book called The Crowd. And in there he talked about how the crowd, when the people get in the crowd, they become mindless of their own, and they do things in the crowd that they normally wouldn't do on their own. And the way to control the crowd is to inject an antagonist or a protagonist, a loud voice that guides the crowd on how to respond, controls the egregore of the collective consciousness of the group. That's what preachers do.
But not just preachers. I was just thinking, ain't that what, to me, that sounds like something to see out in them alphabet boys, like the CIA them be doing too.
Well, they use it in a sociological layout as part of the grid or cutout for what they call society. They don't micromanage the individual. They control the stressors and the buffers. They control the narrative by controlling the stressor and the buffer. Then they lock you with a 2-bar cane and beat your ass from pillar to post without you ever knowing what they doing.
Got to be more careful. Oh man, yeah, you got to be more careful, man. Yeah, it's a lot. I saw somebody had earlier made a comment about like speaking to trees and like, I guess like being a tree hugger, kind of like connecting with nature. Can you kind of speak to like some of the significance to that? Because even like grounding, I know that's something I've been working on making myself do more often lately is grounding.
That's what tree hugging is grounding.
Oh, so it's the same thing?
It's part of it's a different type of grounding though. See, the tree is already stable, right? And we understood that the bigger the tree, the deeper the roots, the more stable the foundation. So we use the model of the great world tree that shows the roots beneath matching the leaves above, as above, so below. The energy of the tree will stabilize the erratic energy, especially of the women. And this is why when you go back to the tree huggers in the 80s, overwhelming majority of them was always women, because they was the ones that was actually getting the most response from the tree. The tree was telling them information, downloading information to them using a mitochondrial connection to the soil. Because the mitochondria that power the cell, it's got a different name, right? But can also be found in the free radical state in the soil of the earth. And the more fertile the soil, the more denser pockets of it you find. And then when you look at fertile soil, you'll see that it's heavily carbonated, which makes it give the appearance of black. But all that is nutrition. As soon as you put something in it and start sucking nutrition out, it's going to fade, and then it's going to turn lighter shades of brown.
Wow. Yeah, shout out to King Paporo. I feel you on that. That's real. Me too. Like a lot of my dopest ideas or like breakthroughs or like aha moments that be happening in the shower. And it was before I knew to set intentions with the water too. So now if you think about, I don't remember who it is, but somebody had mentioned something about that too, I think in the comments. But when you set your intentions when you go in that shower, you can do a whole lot more with it too. Shout out to I Am Art 1111, Dr. Emoto. I think that's exactly who it was I was talking about with the water experiment. Yeah, that's dope. So see, somebody said crystals. Yeah, dark goddess, crystals and spiritual herbs and bath water, all that you talking about a whole nother level now. And yeah, Kashida too. Yeah, shout out to the tribe, because in spiritual baths, that's why another reason anybody who's had any type of spiritual cleansing or spiritual ceremonies or spiritual kind of like rites of passages, it's always done with water. Even if it's not just the opening prayer or whatever tools you're working with, is also the submersion of water. Kind of like when you go to church, when they what they say when the pastor baptizes, that comes from our traditions, before it was.
But if they didn't, when they say in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, if they really wanted you to benefit from it, they would say in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Mother.
Yes, sir.
They keep taking Mama name out of shit, and they wonder why it don't go right for them. Long as you disregard Mama, right, you're gonna always be at the mercy of the patriarchs.
Well, they running on an extinction level event right about now, as far as what I can see.
Man, there's so much stuff going on. They're getting rid of the Bar Association on the chopping block. They already shut the Federal Reserve down, moved the U.S. Treasury to Reno, Nevada, to right outside Reno, Nevada, to a Native American reservation.
What is that?
This is all showing the tribes reclaiming the structure, the power back on the land. We got territorial jurisdiction that trumps the subject matter jurisdiction of any court. Problem is, there's not enough of us know that our jurisdiction is superior. So therefore, we can't exercise superior jurisdiction. They can trump a case up on somebody, and we have fighted using a law until the person is old as Larry Hoover and been in a prison for 50 years. There ain't nothing that man did in his lifetime, because he wasn't on the street long enough to do enough dirt to warrant being locked up 50-something years.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Well, he wasn't no serial killer. He wasn't no serial rapist, right? But they used COINTELPRO. Once they got you, they don't want to let you go. Jeff Ford, Chief Malik Angel Bay, they set him up in prison, right? And once they set him up, he didn't have to have nothing to do with it. But once they accused some of his people with it, they was able to use that to leverage it against him as if he gave the order. So the same way they did at Jeff Ford, they end up the Four Corner Hustler, Prince Lowe, murdered that man. The police killed him. Because he caught on that this the same MO y'all got Chief Malik Angel Bay with. Y'all got Jeff with this. Y'all not finna get me with the same damn rocket launcher? The same rocket launcher. The same rocket launcher. The same table with the same guns on it. That's the only way it had to be controlled by the government. And the government, not our government, they corporations masquerading as our government. And as long as we don't know that the corporate jurisdiction is a fraudulent jurisdiction, and it's not enough of us that's aware, we can't do nothing about it, because we need more tribes people membership, the ones that wasn't necessarily a chief, to become aware. Right? Because the more of them is aware, when it come time for us to get what's ours, the more of us is ready to say, hey, my man say run our stuff. We want our stuff. This is not a negotiation. This is not a reparation. Right? This is a restoration. Give us what's ours, and we ain't got to worry about reparations, because they won't have nothing to pay us with, because everything they got blown to us. But you can go fight for reparations and forego your birthright. That's a trick. And it's the same way a lot of our elders still believe that if we don't go fight for Africa, we ain't gonna never be free. Let Africa fight for Africa, and let us American red Negroes fight for us. And then that don't mean I got a problem with Africa. I support Ibrahim Traore and them, and Julius Malema, and I support them 100% for taking their jurisdictional supremacy back from the colonizers. Only thing is, I'm trying to do the same thing over here. Right. But as soon as I put on a military uniform, then I'm gonna be a problem. Right. And once they consider me a problem, then we ain't got nobody left that can understand the problem enough to point out where all of the traps at. Yeah. I ain't finna fall for that. Nope. You're not finna get me going. That's why I don't go to no group functions. You won't never call me no cult leader. That's why I'm always in the same couple of places when I do my videos, because I ain't out in the streets. I'm not committing crimes. I'm not robbing nobody. I'm not raping nobody. None of that. All I'm doing is on the internet giving away free game to anybody that look like me or don't look like me, that just so happen to appreciate free game. And if they decide they want to compensate me for it and they hit my cash app, thank you, but that ain't why I'm doing it. I'm trying to wake up many people as I can, but the reciprocity, I appreciate it. Right? But I'm not here looking for that. That's not my mission. I don't do anything for money. If it's a fee attached to it, I was gonna do it for free. I'm not gonna charge nobody for something that's already paid for. All them books my brothers and sisters bought me, I'm good. I already got the information. I'm just giving it back in bite-sized pieces so y'all can digest it better.
Yeah, man, because there's a lot going on. Like you said, it's a whole lot. And shout out, I got a few more shows lined up later this week. We're going to be tapping in and going real deep into all of these different occurrences, the ones that's happening, the ones that have happened, and the ones that's about to happen, and the ones that's happening now. Because a lot is going down, and a lot of it is stuff that we've already known about. It's been foretold, predicted, all that, et cetera, et cetera. But then at the same time, there's some that haven't been. But we seeing it all
of those written prophecies, every one of those written prophecies, them not prophecies. That's the plan. That's the plan. That's the roadmap, the blueprint. It ain't no prophecy. It's the plan.
Now you talking about like Project 20? What is it? 2025 or whatever that.
I'm talking about biblical prophecy, Quranic prophecy. Any prophecy that's written is not a prophecy. If it's written down, it's not a prophecy. It's the plan. But you need a certain amount of people to know the plan in order for you to execute the plan. But you can't never tell them that this the plan. You always got to let them believe it's something in the future. So when it starts happening, they won't even see it happening in their face, behind their back.
just like the fall of the corporation. So is there validity to the statement from Wee Boogie in regards to July 2022, the U.S. corporation ending?
It might have been sooner than that. I know when the first Trump administration came in, he initiated the liquidation of the bankruptcy. America had been under bankruptcy since 1933.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's when they openly declared us the enemy at that point.
Mm.
And they put it in their law books. Most of us not gonna read no law book, so we're not gonna know that they declared us the enemy.
Right.
But we always been the enemy, so we shouldn't be shocked. Right? We just needed to understand military strategy well enough to be able to out-strategize their greatest strategists. So here we go. General, rally the troops. You discipline them, brothers. They're not teaching to shoot. Should we pillage and loot or just invade the game? A hostile takeover, put their heads in frames, make them remember the names, teach them in history, mystic military minds, playing Shoutout in mystery.
Yeah. Hey, shout out, and then shout out to Pop, because as you were spitting, all I could hear was the first couple of verses from Hellraiser. Born thugging, heartless and mean, mugging at 16 on the scene, bugging, kicking up dust with the older G's, soaking up the game that was told to me.
Listen.
Yes, sir.
All of us that have any aspirations beyond a 9-to-5 job and behind being a drug dealer hustler, we sucked the game up from everywhere we could get it. But we ain't tell nobody we was paying attention. When I recited back childhood memories of what my daddy said to my father, blew his mind. He said, I remember that, but it ain't no motherfucking way you can remember that. But you quoted me just like I said it. I was like, Pop, I remember more than you think I do. But my mama always knew. Because when I run into a problem, I go talk to my mama and say, oh, you smart, you'll figure it out. Yeah. Mama, I ain't that damn smart. You smarter than you think.
Yeah.
I'd be like, but mama, she'd be like, roll our eyes. I'd be like, damn. She's like, you got this. You know what you doing.
Look, mama ain't raised no fool.
Mama ain't raised no fool, and daddy ain't raised no punk.
No, sir. Not yesterday, not today, not tomorrow either. We don't get down like that around these parts. No. Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah.
Look, these sessions like this, right? People don't know that this is how we talk on the phone.
Yeah.
But it's part of who I am. You know, if people don't ask me, I won't tell them shit.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But when you ask me and you put the question and let me know that you can comprehend the answer, I'm gonna hit you with the load. I got a whole lot to say to you.
Listen, and that's the thing that I love, that the people love, and hell, I love it too, because you know what I mean. Like, it's a lot of people who can relate to everything that you putting down. Me and the tribe, we picking it up. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's why I love this. All happened organically too. You know what I mean? Like, everything from the tribe forming the way they did, and everybody kind of getting together and showing love and appreciation to the guests that's come on, that's been introduced, where we really chop it up for real, and it's like, it's dope because there's no ego, and that's another thing I wanted to say too, man. Before we even got started, I'm glad I'm thinking about it. Is I wanted to shout out like the humility, because I've come across people that have big followings or have this level of success about them, but they're not necessarily approachable, or there's kind of like a separation factor where I'm not knocking people's style, but at the same time, I'm one of them people, ain't nobody better than me. I don't give a damn who you are, what you got, and I'm not better than nobody else either. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've always moved that way. I've always been that way.
We go somewhere and get somebody treat me bad, she be like, baby, you ain't nobody better than you.
That's fine.
And you sure as hell ain't better than nobody else. So the only thing that make you be better is if you do better.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Big facts.
Right. So I be trying to do better.
You and me both.
Look, my mama was the GOAT. My mom was the Aries on top of the hill, waiting on the ram to come home. She was holding it down. Right? Mom taught us so much stuff. And I don't care which one of my siblings you pick. We all struck out on our path when we got of age. Some of us path was rocky because we went the way we thought was best for us and didn't listen to mama. I'm prime one, hard head, make a so ass. I'm the hardest head in the family, so I'm definitely gonna get the hardest lessons. But in the course of the hardest lessons, I'm gonna beat everybody else hard-headed ass sons. And we gonna here to have a conversation here and there. And then we gonna start realizing that, wait a minute, do everybody's family got a hard-headed ass son like us? Then we must not be meant to be doing what everybody else is meant to be doing. We supposed to be doing something that require us to learn hard lessons so that we never forget the effect of the lesson. So that we can understand the lesson well enough to explain it to others so that they'll know how to put their new world in order.
Woo. Yes, sir. Listen, all I heard was, I got to get some sound drops because I can hear the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Woo! Back in the day.
Styling and profiling.
Yeah. That's for the 80s babies and above. Some of the young people.
Limousine riding, jet flying, wheeling, dealing, kiss stealing, son of a gun.
Yes, sir. What a good old days, boy. That fake wrestling, man. You couldn't tell me nothing about that fake wrestling.
Hey, listen, I love wrestling so much. I can read the storylines and get psychic coded messages from it.
That's deep. I like that. I love it, actually. Yeah. Listen. So let me ask, like, okay, look, I got one for you. I love that you said that because I was going to bring this up, but I got one for you. So I had, this was, I don't know, within the last week, I was doing some spiritual work and I had to collect some different items, right? And when I went to one of the spots to get some of my ingredients or tools, I went to reach down into the earth, and as soon as I touched the soil, I heard boom. I saw thunder and lightning. I already knew who that was. That was Kabiesi Shango, right? What do you feel like the significance is when we have these sorts of connections to nature? So we spoke about earlier about the water and how we've been able to stop the rain, or how people can make the tides go out and how they can make the waves come in and out by communicating and connecting. And on top of, I saw a dolphin in a spot that I've never seen a dolphin last week either, which was kind of dope. But what do you feel like that connection is when you see or hear about stories like that where people are able to do things where you can't deny that there's a hand-in-hand unison or connection between man and Mother Earth?
You ever read the Declaration of Independence?
I don't think so. No, I didn't read
that. The Declaration of Independence, it tells us that if the political structure becomes rogue to call on the spirits of nature who will come to serve you, how is the spirits of nature going to come to us? What form will they take that we know this is a nature spirit?
I feel like any.
Remember this. Angels walk among men, and men think they are the men. Angels walk among women, and the world confused them as being just another woman. It's more female messengers of creation that's called angels. This is where you get your oracles and your oracles of Delphi and your priestess of Mami Watas. These were the angelic beings that took human form to teach the human how to rise up to become an angelic being, which is your God form. When you become the messenger of divine providence, divine providence then put the right words according to your knowledge base into your mouth. That's why they got it written in a Bible, prepare not what you should say before the magistrate, for at that very moment the Holy Soul will rise up and speak through you. That's the spirit of the Great Mother guiding you through the right brain wisdom channel of abstract reason, where she can read the mind of a magistrate and relay to you the proper information in which you can tell the magistrate what need to be said in order for him to give you a favorable ruling. But we don't know what that stuff means because we lost track with our culture, but it's been piecemealed back to us through religion and philosophy and theology and anthropology and archaeology, and they've been putting it in what they call subjects or fields of study. But it's a unified field theory concept at work. And if you don't know how to unify the field, then the theory is just going to crumble on its face. But as soon as you unify the field, the theory is going to prove itself to be a unified field effect. The butterfly effect just causes the Mandela effect. And one effect causes another in a chain reaction. That's called a nuclear reaction. The rapid separation of the atoms by disrupting the formation of the atom. And then they tell us that Adam is the first man. But the first man is linear logic, left brain. But the woman is right brain, abstract. And the man had to learn how to work between the two in order to find the truth.
Let's not drive past the atom, because I know you said atom like ADAM, but I'm sorry, you said ATOM atom. Which one? Either way, both atoms. Can you kind of break down the atoms?
I said both of them. So the symbol for the physiology of the being atom, being born of the clay of the earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the representation is the proton, neutron, and the electron. The mind, the body, and the soul or spirit, right? When you put it together, the body is like an egg. It's what they call a threefold manifestation into third density. Fourfold is called mind matrix. This is why you had to go to sleep to dream, but you can also dream while you wide awake. The problem is you don't know you can control both of them. So you stuck in the 3D trying to master the 4D, never knowing that the only reason we need sleep is because 4D and 3D been crashed together.
So now we were talking about the people who stay up late, real late, that do a lot of work late night. People like me and you, and I know a lot of other people who do. Right, but there was something else that we were speaking about in regards as to why certain people work certain times, especially percolate, kind of elevate and like turn up and, you know what I'm saying, get crunk at different late night hours like that, right? I know some people, like, for example, shout out to Professor Kaba. I remember when I first started studying the Dogon tribe from him, he spoke about how they slept, they were nocturnal, like they slept all throughout the day, they only came out at night. And that's how they were able to train their eye and their pupil to be able to see such far distances, and they were able to see deep down, you know what I'm saying, further away from, like, way further away from what even telescopes had back in the day, in like what, the 60s or 70s, whenever they came out, because they were called night eyes. And they would train their eyes to be able to focus at long distances because they've never really been affected by the light of day. So we spoke about some of this recently off air, and I think you shared something with me in regards to why certain people that do certain work always seem to have dogs, because they are, what was it you said they were?
The dogs is for those who destined to be alone a lot. Right. So most dog men back in the day, they were hunters. And they would train and raise their dogs as companions on the hunt. And a lot of the old men, you know, when the young men go off to start their family, they don't come back hunting for a couple of years. Right? But everybody had to also learn how to hunt the land alone. And so the ones who was loners over prolonged periods of time always kept a canine companion. That's why they say a dog is man's best friend. But the symbolism ties to the great Osirian. Because when you look at the Orion constellation, on the heels of the Great Father walks the black dog.
Canis Major.
Right.
Yeah, the dog stars. Yeah.
So when you talking Dogon, they're coming from
the dog star.
The dog star.
Canis Major.
Right. So a lot of the hunting was done at night in the hotter climates because of the potential for heat stroke. And over time, the faculty to withstand the temperate climates of Southwest United States or the Sub-Saharan Africa or backwoods India or Thailand or Korea. So they have to learn how to navigate that land at night. And the best thing they could find to support them was the dog, who would alert them to danger. Right? And this is why I say I never had be without a dog, because if somebody come in my yard in the middle of the night, especially if I live in the middle of nowhere, the dog gonna let me know. Even if he don't bite, he gonna tell me, hey, somebody out here, come look at this, come here. Who is this dude? I don't know him.
Oh yeah.
Right? And if you got the right breed, he gonna let me know, then he gonna go into action while he waiting on me to come back him up. Because he know I'm coming. It's an unwritten communication between the dog man and his dog. The dog might not generally be aggressive, right? But you grab a hold of the dog man, the dog will tear your ass from asshole to appetite, and he's not even a mean dog normally. Yeah. Right? Now the new breed, a lot of that's been bred out of the dog. Only certain dogs still have that as part of their primal instinct. And most of those are massive dogs. They're not little dogs. Like ankle biters those was toys, showpieces for royal families. Exotic places would use them, like the Yorkie, right? The Yorkie has no practical purpose, but he was originally a ratter. But now the new Yorkies have no purpose. All they do is sit there, get fat, and bark on the couch. Right? But they still a good alarm system. Right? But there's no functional purpose for them. So they don't hunt rats no more. The dachshund don't hunt rats no more. Right? The rat terriers don't hunt rats no more. We've got very few people that still hunt rats. Because we've been taught through Western society that rats is yucky. Right? That's go back to the bubonic plague. But the people in India, in certain parts of the Americas, in the South, they still hunt muskrat.
They eat in, I believe, Africa as well.
Yeah. Muskrat in the South, possum, coon, they still eat that down south.
Yeah.
Right? But they wanted to get us to the bovine stock because the bovine saturated fat clogs the brain and causes you to lose your memory as you age. That's why they had to get rid of the bisons. Bisons is probably unsaturated fat.
So you're saying that's why
that's
they got rid of them?
Make up yeah. They said, well, that's one of the reasons. The other reasons is we would be hiding in the bison. And when they come through, like they tail up. And they thought that the bison was turned into the Mississippi soldiers. They call them buffalo soldiers.
Yeah. Buffalo soldier.
But they're not telling the story of the Buffalo clan out of Mississippi that stretched all the way up into, well, it wasn't called Mississippi back then. But the plains region where the buffalo roamed is where they was their natural habitat. and they used to wear the pelt of the buffalo and walk among the buffalo, and they used to call the buffalo their brother. Right? They separated that from the legend of the buffalo soldier because they used some other people to pretend to be the original Buffalo Clan.
Whoa. Yeah, that's deep.
Right. If you go back and you look at the Plains tribes and their relationship to the buffalo, they tell you the whole story. The problem is that they whitewashed us out of the story, and then they gave us a replacement in the buffalo soldiers of the U.S. Army. There's no way a buffalo soldier would have fought for the Army. But if you don't know them people, you will believe that that's talking about the same people. Right? A lot of the tribes' names are exonyms. They not what we called ourselves. They what the settlers called us because they couldn't pronounce the name. So they gave us names that was easy for them to pronounce. It ain't Choctaw, it's Chata. That's my daddy lineage. Right? My mama Washita, but her daddy was classified as a Cherokee chief.
What about tribes like Blackfoot and other tribes like that? Blackfoot.
They was renamed by Big Mama. The black, because most of them were warrior class priests.
That makes sense.
And this is how we end up fighting physical wars and spiritual wars, because it's just like when you follow the migration after the Haitian Revolution was won by Haiti. And you can look this up in the migration pattern. Right after that, the soldiers went to Florida, but the priests and priestesses went to New Orleans. New Orleans is where our priests was trained in the arts, what they call them, the dark arts, the Voodoo, Santeria, Voodoo, right?
Voodoo.
All of it can be taught in New Orleans, right? And the ones that know about it but don't want to learn it, fear it because they know the power that it holds. So they tell us that voodoo is evil, and then they put voodoo on us in church every Sunday. But we ain't supposed to use the voodoo. But when we go and start finding out what these people over here in this voodoo world talking about, and then they start telling stories that feel funny on your insides, activating your DNA. You seeing that the Holy Ghost don't even come from the church. Catching the Holy Ghost and shouting does not come from the Christian church. They were standing up standing in one spot, Sistine chanting when they came over here. When they encountered them tribes in the South, what they call the Bible Belt, all of a sudden they shouting. They got this music that's totally different from the classical Christian music that the Christians of the era was listening to. They call it the gospel, right? Then they have a secularized version called the blues. And then in the story, they telling you, swing low, sweet chariot coming from to carry me home, because they know it's a jumper ship. But they can't tell you in front of master that they know what's going on, so they got decoded in the song. Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, people. Then they tell you about Jordan and the Jericho, but they don't tell you about that's an old Mississippi practice in the Mississippi River. When all of the girls become of age, they get baptized in the Mississippi River wearing the white. The white becomes amplifier for the rays of the sun that ricochet off of the water that amplifies the frequency back to activate her psychic senses. They still do it in Haiti.
We still do it here.
They still do it in Jamaica. They still do it in Barbados. They still do it in Cuba. They still do it in Dominica, St. Lucius, St. Croix. They still do it all over the islands. They still do it in Brazil, Argentina. Why are we all doing the same thing, different parts of the land, and we supposed to be from a different culture?
Yeah.
Remember, anything that they wasn't part of the church was called pagan. But if you trace pagan back, you'll find that it goes to Pangean, meaning when the world was one, figuratively or literally. You can take it either way. Because after the physical separation of the land masses, we were still united under what we call today African root science. They used to be called the science of the nine ether, right? Which is also called the science of the black dot, which is the science of the awareness of the self to activate the higher consciousness to liberate you from the ties of the 3D world that keep you from realizing your God status.
Yep. Yeah. We up, family. We are definitely up. But listen, they do that right here in Florida because I've seen it. Certain different ceremonies, I've been a part of. I've actually seen everything that you just mentioned. I've seen the light and the aura glow off of people after having certain types of rituals and spiritual baths. I've seen this with my own eyes because it's a whole nother level of like energy. You know what I mean? And then what happens is you pull away and break so many different like spiritual cords or different ties or blockages or, you know what I mean? All these different things are being torn away and ripped away from you, you know what I mean? As the individual who's having the spiritual ascension into a new level, or I should say a new dimension of your spiritual journey. So when that happens, I've seen in real time the way the light reflects off of a person's skin, let alone the white that they're wearing after the ceremony, how the sun reflects off of the light or even the water. Like it's a totally different energy field. And it's dope because I've seen that. Everything you just explained, I've seen with my very own eyes with being a part of some of those same ceremonies.
You ever hear Dr. Valentine talk about prismatic melanin?
I've heard him speak a lot. I don't know if I heard him speak on that though.
You can pull him up on TikTok, prismatic melanin. He explains it. But if you want to see somebody in the summertime, brother Killah, he be talking about the sun blood. He out of Philadelphia. But you could see the prismatic melanin in his hair and his skin on some. He ain't using no filter. Right? He could be standing next to somebody, and if the sun hit him right, he'll glisten in the sun. You could see the crystals upgrading in his, because we going from carbon to crystal.
I think I might know who you're talking about. He be like in the pool or something like that all the time.
No, he be on Instagram talking about the sun blood and the eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Right. And but in the summertime, you could go back to some of his old summertime videos and see the sun hitting, and you can see it activated. He's upgrading faster than a lot of us because we going from carbon based. The carbon is going to be updated to crystals. Right? That means that we going from carbon based to crystal based. We was magnesium based when we was green.
Yeah, I touched on that with Brother B-Dell a little bit last week or the other day.
Yeah, because the magnesium interact with the copper, and the oxidization of the two causes shades of green and blue.
I'm glad you brought that up because now that goes back to the walls of Kemet. A lot of people, I don't know how many people pay attention to or really like know how real that is in regards to how, matter of fact, I got some right here, in regards to how everything on the walls of Kemet in the hieroglyphs or the Medu-Neter, that's all real. So even like this book from Doc, Land Freedom Master Teacher, the Melanite Children, I was talking about this not too long ago too. You can see clearly that Assar is green, right? And that's exactly how
he's green, but his name means Lord of the Perfect Black.
Okay. And that now you brought up the blue black too. So what's the difference between the blue black and the green? And we talk about melanin.
So when you start getting, okay, it's the same pigment that's in the cherries. You know, black cherries,
Yeah,
blackberries, right? Because remember, every time we upgrade, we try a different foundational element. The reason the last time we went to carbon, because we wanted shades of wheat, which really represents the shades of corn, right? And this is the shades of people. If you look at the spectrum of the shades of wheat, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can see it in my mind's eye. Like you talking about the cereal, right? How it got different blends of different colors of, like, you know what I'm saying, brown or beige or tan. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a grain.
Oh, okay. I don't know that wheat then. I think you're talking about wheat thins. Cereal.
No, I'm talking about wheat. What wheat thins made out of?
I got you.
The shades of wheat.
Right.
That's the current spectrum of human pigmentations. This comes from the 12 daughters of Isis. And this is why the 13th seat has been villainized and demonized. The 13th seat is the seat of the Great Mother. The Queen Mother is the mother to the king. She had to be the Black Madonna if he's going to be Heru. Heru is going to be the prince trying to become the father, Osiris. It's the blueprint to tell the royal family how to return to power. It's called the Holy Drama. All of the Earth tribes used to know it.
With our Sarin drama, yeah.
It's a different story in Mesoamerica. It's the Popol Vuh. Right? The story is told in the Mayan Codex. It's the same story, but from a different cultural background. All of the priests of the earth have the same holy drama story because it's the fool's journey to the ascension on the hero's journey to becoming the hero instead of the fool. Right? So it gives it to you in cycles, which takes you back to the Emerald Tablets. Tahuti say all is but cycles within cycles, right? Well, how do you know if it's a cycle? You don't know what to look for in order to determine the end of the cycle because it's a pattern. When you know your own pattern, you can get out your own way. But as long as you don't know your own pattern, you can trip yourself up worse than your worst enemy. You know he your enemy, and you thought you loved yourself.
Bro, I was just talking about that earlier today, man. Shout out to my boy, Brother Oak. We was just literally talking about that today, about getting out of your own way. I think that's one of the things a lot of people who know that they're either tapped in spiritually or like whether they're being awakened, the ancestors are giving them downloads and messages, but it's almost like they want to push away from it, like they're nervous or scared of it versus embracing it and just accepting it and growing, within the calling. But everybody, I guess, is not ready to answer that call. Many are called, few are chosen. You know what I mean? But it's like some of us, I feel like we're still indoctrinated by the whole Holy Bible, you know what I'm saying? Christianity, indoctrination.
Well, you got to remember, Christianity 2,000 years old, right? Osirian resurrection is more like 10,000 years old. So who do you think got the story right? The Osirian resurrection or the reprint? As long as they got you thinking that Jesus is a man and not Isis, they got you in their trap.
Yeah.
They got you hooked. They became fisher of men and hooked your ass. But soon as you go back to the Greek language and find out that Jesus is Isis, you're going to have an aha moment. You know what? Speaking of wrestling earlier, I was watching women's wrestling. And it's a Hispanic chick named Isis, but she don't pronounce it Isis. She pronounce it like it's written in Greek. but she spelled it in English. But she's Spanish.
What kind of pork veganism backwards ass?
But look, I told you, I can get storylines out of wrestling.
Yeah.
And that became a good reference point. I'm gonna find it in them video with me introducing her.
How do they pronounce it? I don't know if I heard it pronounced the Greek way. How does that sound? Like what? How do you
Osiris.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've heard that. Okay.
Then they try to say he was a Hebrew and change his name to Yahshua, which means our savior, which is still talking about Isis, the great mother. Then they turn around and don't tell you that Mary mean the land of Mary, which means the land of Isis, which means Mary is Isis. So they juggling these names around to tell you the story in a scrambled egg format, so you won't never be able to put the pieces together because you're not going to go back and check out the original stories. You know what Malachi say? One of the things he was trying to do was get these stories accurately in the minds of the children. He said, I got to straighten out the stories they was told before they come get me. By straightening out the stories, he gave us the degree of Mohammedism, degree of Christism, and degree of Mosesism. The three Babylonian trifurcated system, right? And they use that as the mass control of people. If their stories, the original stories is straight, you will see the falsehood in the new reprint. It's just like if you've seen the original movie 25, 30 years ago, when the new movie come out, you could tell the difference in the two because you know what the original was.
Yeah. And we've seen that recently too with a lot of the remakes that they've been bringing back out.
But Hollywood got good because now they found out ways to change the story by telling you they changed the timeline in the arc. They going into alternate realities in the arc. That's because they can tell you the same story from a whole bunch of different angles without you catching on to what part of it is true.
Now, when you say they're telling it from the ark, you talking about like Noah's Ark, or what type of ark?
In the Arcana. Arcana is the venue of the arc, of the storylines. So when the storylines split, characters that was traditionally male now female, they saying that that's a different timeline or alternate reality or dimension. Right? There's called trapping the multi-dimensional self. So when they show a superhero movie, if you ever realize the villain is not the villain and the superhero is the villain, and you've been siding with the villain in your own story this whole time and you didn't even know it.
Yeah, that's facts. One of the clearest displays of that was that X-Men Apocalypse. Like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going for the bad guy because I know who that is. Like, they trying to paint the guys out to be the bad guys. You know what I'm saying?
Which takes you back to the hero's journey.
Yep.
The hero's journey is how do the prince rise to become the king when the culture is changed from the original culture. Right? He run that shit over. That bullshit ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm the king.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch that.
Isis. So this question, Isis came from Aset. It's the Greek version of Aset. Right? So when they took over Kemet and renamed the capital Alexandria after Alexander, right? This is when the Greek language began to be used to describe Egyptian history, names, and places and dates.
Mm.
So when they come into a culture, in order to make it seem as if it's their culture, they have to use as much of their culture as they can to tell the story from the other culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can put the slant on it, because if they make you forget your language and teach you a new language, you will only know the story from the way they taught you in the new language. We done went through at least about 100 languages since 2,000 years ago in America alone.
Yeah. Yeah, and you that's real. I love that, because what you discover and uncover, it remind me of one of my favorite custom model videos. Because if you think about it, right, Egypt, they couldn't even pronounce Egypt. That's one of the reasons why they did it. It's really Kemet. They didn't even know how to paraphrase the words. So you have Assar, Aset, and Heru, which then morphed to Isis, Horus, and what
Osiris.
is it called? Osiris. There you go. Yeah, because they couldn't even get it right with the pronunciation, let
No, they
alone what it
wasn't
really.
supposed to use the same name.
So
They
they can
was
find it.
okay. So let's go over the history of Greece. You got to go back to first school established in Greece was established by the priestess by the order of the pharaohs in Egypt. The royal house sent her to civilize the Greeks and set up the first university on the island of Crete. With that, they penned what's called the scholastic language of Greek for the Greek people that they were educating. They chose the ones that showed the most promise and rose them to higher levels of education, and they became known as philosophers. Right? Philosophia. Philo is another way of saying adoration or love. Sophia is divine wisdom, the sacred wisdom of the mother, based on the right brain abstract access that comes by way of mitochondria. So when you get your Sophocles and Plato's and all of those dudes, right? They telling you in their writings who taught them all of this information, right? But when you get to Egypt, it's telling you who was sent to Greece to civilize them, right? So also it tell you where the other daughters of the royal house went. The twin daughters, which was the baby two girls, represented by the sign of Pisces, the two fish. Scotta and Scotia settled Ireland and Scotland. Ireland was originally Orishaland. The Ireland is the English pronunciation of Orisha. The English language was about a 300-word dialect in the form and structure that it is today, that was brought from Africa into Europe. But that don't got nothing to do with the way that we was digesting and developing new languages over here. Right? Over here, we had similar linguistic patterns to the Africans. Right? Because the priesthood that taught the Africans is the same priesthood that taught the ancient Americans. It's the same priesthood that taught the ancient Tibetans. It's the same priesthood that taught the ancient Chinese and the ancient Japanese, right? But the only way you know the difference is the 12 daughters had 12 different skin complexions, 12 different hair colors and textures. So now they all populate a different region that was given to them as birthrights. What they called back then was the 12 regions of the earth, spanning from the sacerdotal seat, which was the center of the earth, which is where the Big Mama sit. In the Babylonian historical record, they called a seat, the person that sit on the seat carries the name Inanna. But in Kemet, the person who sat on the seat carries the name of Aset. Patriarchy teaches us that the pharaoh is the man. But language tells us that the word pharaoh means lady of the house. It actually means lady that lights up the house. And it's all feminine.
How does that tie into the Sphinx? Because the Sphinx, if I'm not mistaken, is that a male or a female? I've heard both.
It was originally a female, but when they recarved it, because you notice it's not the same size it used to be. It was a female. And if you go to all the other sphinxes around the world, they are females. The Sphinx represented the nature of a guardian spirit of the earth. Right? The lion's body had a woman's head. Right? And it had a serpent's tail or a dragon's tail. The Sphinx is in the resting position. It's no longer the Sphinx when it's in flight, it's now the griffin. The lion head changes to the bird head, the eagle head, as the lion of the sky. The symbolism is ancient. We know what it all means. So they try to recarve the face of one of the pharaohs because they ego struck. The males are never the pharaohs, it's always the women, because all hereditary rights on earth came through the matrilineal lines. And if you didn't know which one of the 12 daughters you belonged to, Big Mama took you in as an orphan. And this is how America becomes a great melding pot. Because Mama tell her baby boy, you take care of all of the widows and the orphans for me. And I go tend to my daughters to heal the rest of the world. So all of the orphans becomes part of the fabric of the idea of America. Send us your downtrodden, your orphans, your prisoners, your lowly people, right? To the great melding pot, God's crucible, where one drop of blood is all it takes to get you into the family. It got to be by marriage. Because a tribe, you have to be represented by a tribe or you can't stay on the land. Right? And the bloodlines came to create blood ties to tie back into the vine of the first family of the earth family. And we trace them around the Fertile Crescent through Louisiana, Texas, going around Mexico, all the way to the Amazon. Same people. All of the different cultures they exhuming is different eras in which the people move to different places based on the development of time, wisdom, and nature. They didn't know nothing about rotating no crops. They got that from us because we understood that you can't over farm land and expect it to produce a nourishing food. You have to allow the land the time to heal because you didn't scrape the skin off his back for so many years. Now he need to rest. Let the scar tissue build up and then you can farm again. So we farmed in cycles so that we never created a mass buildup of usage of the land and exploit the land. We didn't believe in exploiting the land just like we didn't believe in exploiting each other. That's foreign to our culture.
Yeah. And unfortunately that kindness, did bite us and it took us a little bit too by, being the way we are, unfortunately. But that's why we have levels and that's why there's different rules. And like my boy Outkast, Drace 3 Stacks say, the world's a stage and everybody got to play their part. So, we got some here that's ready to do this work and the work gonna get done by any means necessary.
Listen, everybody got to do the part they know how to do. They don't tell me how to do my part because I know how to do my part. But the part that you need to be doing, you go do your part. and stay out of my way because I don't want to crush you in the process of me doing my part because you're not going to stop me. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to smile and I'm going to say, yes, sir. And then I'm going to do what the fuck I was going to do anyway. Finish exercising my tribal right to assert territorial jurisdiction over the subject matter jurisdiction of the legal fiction that's established on the foundation of fraud, which vitiates all contracts. Notice to H and being notice to principal, public notice is perfectly acceptable in any timestamp archivable format, and all social media platforms meet the criteria. So we here, we telling it just like it is. We don't care who don't like it. I got the same mercy for you that y'all had for us when we was getting fried and cooked and fricasseed. I don't got no mercy. I just want y'all to just, the ones that want to help, help. The ones that don't want to help, you're gonna get rolled over. I'm just here to let you know. You're gonna find out why 100 motherfuckers don't want to see no gorilla. Fuck around and find out.
What'd you say? Move, bitch. Get out the way.
Get out the way.
Oh man, yeah. Listen, we going,
you know why?
Way.
Cause I ain't never scared. I never scared.
I know that's right. Oh man, we got the crowd going crazy, man. They going in. I can't keep up. There's some dope comments, family. I'm trying to get to them, but it's so many. It's hard to keep up, man. But listen, well, let me throw that one up there right now because they definitely, that's big facts. Listen. So somebody had something in here earlier where they was talking about the original Isis being in the Grand Canyon. I know you touched on that briefly in one of our previous builds, but can you kind of hit that a little bit again for the people who might not have
Not
seen
just the original temple of Isis, the original temple of Osiris, the original temple of the great Buddha. Buddha ain't from Asia. He from over here.
And we saw that too in them caverns in the Grand Canyon.
That's just the journey to the west to get the 10 Buddhist scrolls. Sun Wukong. The Hanuman, which is the handyman. You figure it out, get the job done.
Yeah.
This is why you got in Teotihuacan on the Nazca lands. You got the monkey and the Thunderbird. It's transition. The Sako Mao is the monkey man. The Thunderbird is the fully manifestation of a chief in front of your eyes.
Right before your very eyes.
You won't even realize you can't see me. Hey, shout out to Killah Priest, man. I just want everybody to know. If y'all see Killah Priest, shoot him Rod Hayes want to be on this podcast. He put me in the song.
Listen, I heard, matter of fact, I don't know if it was my cousin. Somebody was telling me that recently. I can't remember who it was. It was my cousin. It might have been brother Orisa Stone. I can't remember. But anyway, somebody was just telling me about that, man. I'm trying to think of who I know that might have access to him. I know it'll happen because look, if he putting you shout outs in the song, man, look, I'm sure he got social media.
Yeah,
man.
Well, if he knock, I'm gonna knock back.
Yeah, man. Look, I shoot a DM real quick. That's how some of the
that's how we do collaboration. Knock to a knockback. I did a whole Wu-Tang live one time where I gave 36 chambers. I gave 36 books. I broke the chambers down and where they came from. Right, and based on where they came from, the books was tied to the reference. I had to do that for RZA because he sent me a shout out on the Psychic Network. And then when I did the video, on the next day, I opened up my Facebook, and the first post on my page when I turned on my Facebook was RZA doing this.
That's dope. That's dope. And you know what?
Yeah.
Look,
I got some Wu-Tang posts on my page that's raw. Wu-Tang, look. Yeah, they represent those Northeast tribes. They was tying together the tribal confederation of all of those New York tribes,
Killer
right?
bees. Mm-hmm. Yes,
That's
sir.
what the whole Killer Bee philosophy is.
Oh yeah, man. Wu went heavy. 36 Chambers, the Wu-Tang Forever. Oh my god, that first video. What was it? Was it Triumphant? What was the name? A Bomb Atomic League. The high philosophy. God dang, what was the name of that song? But
Oh
man,
man, look,
they murked it with that. That to this day, that's still one of the dopest songs and videos I've ever seen in my life. To this day,
but
that
everybody
song
was
came out.
telling me, man, you gotta hear Killer Priest. You gotta hear Killer Priest, right? So we doing on the yard doing the cassette trade, right? And I had this old R&B cassette I was tired of. It was like a mixtape.
Mm-hmm.
And my man pulled out that Killer Priest Heavy Mental. I said, run that right there. That's what I want. He said, oh yeah, I don't like this. I said, let me get that. I gave him the R&B tape. Man, I was Heavy Mental out my mind.
Man,
Because the way
you know what's dope?
the format of the album is taking biblical reference to tell the story. Then he come in with his songs, and then some of the interludes and some of the songs is quotes from old Charleston Heston movies, biblical movies. Yeah, oh man,
And that's what made Wu-Tang so dope. Because RZA used to drop them old school martial arts movies and all that in the
look, it ain't nothing like look. Heavy Mental was in the class by itself in the Wu-Tang.
But check this out. So I ain't gonna say it on air, but the light bulb went off. I got the plug because I know I got a direct connect to somebody who was connected to the Wu. I just thought about it, so I'm gonna definitely see about making that, make it do what it do for sure. I just thought about it. It came to me, man. So we're gonna try to make that happen. It's going to happen. We're gonna speak it by any means necessary.
I'm gonna go look on my my Instagram Morpheus Mysticus page and see if it's on there. If it's not, it's on my Rod Hayes page. I gotta petition him to get my data.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. We going heavy tonight, boy. Hey. Heavy as the crown, baby, but we're gonna wear it because we ain't slowing down, we ain't stopping. Somebody, I like that because the gorillas is knocking. I know that's right, boy. You talk about divine alignment. Yes, sir. Shout out to Sun Kisser. Yeah, we definitely we getting it popping, man, for sure. Definitely getting it popping. Wow. Okay, so
it's so good to see so many of us understanding this information.
Oh yeah.
Because Elijah Montana told me that I had to make it plain enough for a baby to understand it. And I was trying to figure out how to get these big concepts into a simplified language where they'd be able to wrap their mind about what am I saying? Because when I looked at it at first, and I'd be trying to explain it to people, it just fly clean over their head. They had no frame of reference. Right. So we have to use what we're familiar with to give them a frame of reference as a backdrop in order to play the new information off of so they have something to relate it to. And that accelerates the learning process because it's tied to something with a already established database in the brain.
Yeah. We remember, or we remember, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a real thing.
Just like they remembered Osiris, remember?
Right. Yeah, I usually have all my books in here, but I think I got them all. I got books all over the place. I don't know which room they're in, but yeah, there was a book that I shared about the RE engineering of the non-ether. I think is it African Creation Energy or something like that? I can't remember, but they got a dope collection of books that they put out that I'm definitely tapped in with their work, man. Somebody said Rod Hayes on a Killer Priest podcast. Yeah, it's gonna happen. We're gonna speak that one way or another. We're gonna speak it because look, what's so amazing about how the universe been working. It was somebody who posted on the channel, I think after either the first or second time I interviewed you, they was like, yo, you should get Brother B. Dale on there. I'm like, yo, if you know how to, connect with him, man, set it up. I know that'd be epic. And I'll be damn, like 2 weeks later, here we go. You know what I'm saying? We had it, what was it, like Sunday, I think. And we about to do it again.
Whoever told you that, so you called me and said, you know how to get in touch with B. Dale?
I knew you did because I saw you on his channel before. I'm like, yeah, but see, like I said, I love the way you move, man, because everybody don't move like that. You know what I mean? Like, because some people, they'll have access to different types of connections, but they won't do it because some
Man,
people don't want to.
I'm the assist king. If I can assist you, I would rather assist you than do it myself.
Listen, I'm throwing oops. I'm like Steph because listen, nobody's gonna outshine the sun. Period. If you trying to shine, if that's your thing, I'm here to do the work that I've been called to do. That's why I'm here, because I'm like, for real. I don't even fuck with social media like that for real. But I know my gift. I know what I was called to do, and I ain't trying to take one of them spiritual aspects we was talking about earlier. So I have to do the work.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of social media at all. But it's like at the same time, I am a fan of being able to pour into our people. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan of being able to uplift, empower, educate, inspire, motivate, you know what I mean? Our people. So heal our people. So all those things I'm a huge fan of, because for me, that's what it's really about. And so I love being able to align with people who are about the same thing. And that's not about that me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just trying to get they shine on or whatever, but don't want to put other people in a position to succeed and win. Like, ain't nobody gonna outshine the sun, bro. Nobody. It don't matter. Like, we all can shine together. Yes, sir.
Shit. Look, even though we all shine together, when the sun come out, we know he there.
Oof.
Ain't no mistake about it. We know he there.
I call it.
It's the same way. It's the same way with the chiefs across the land. When one of them step on the scene, you know he there. You know he there. His energy shine just like the sun. Yeah. But it just shine through people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. And the sun becomes the complement to shine the radiance on the one. Yes. That's why that's why they got all them boys named Sunny Boy. Sun. Them chiefs. But they just don't want to say chief because we didn't use the word chief till the European came. So they give them other names. The budding chief, they call him Junebug.
I got an uncle named June. That's funny. Yeah, that's real too.
Yeah, they know he gonna become a chief. The Junebug is Kefra. Right? Kefra is the dung beetle that rolls the sun across the sky. He's an advisor to a bigger chief.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? All of it is in there, and we have this mystified version given to us through Eurocentric influences, right? In the Hermetics and different philosophies. But when we go back, you have elders over here. Malachi was an excellent translator of hieroglyphics. And now you got Muwada Ashby, and he's an expert translator of hieroglyphics. Then you got a lot of them that's part of us. A couple of them I've seen on Sonnetter that know how to translate proficient hieroglyphic. They don't tell the same story the same way that the Europeanized versions tell it. The Europeanized versions is designed to control people, and this is in the word religion. Right? Because in the Latin that it comes from, it means to bind back down, to tie something down. Right? So if religion is to tie something down, what is they tying down? You kangaroo?
Ain't no kangaroo
down, mate. Tie the kangaroo down. Yeah, I listen to Aussie music too. That's the Queensland.
Oh man.
I gotta know what the Aboriginals of the land down in Australia is doing too.
Oh yeah.
So I gotta listen to the pop culture of the Australian music.
Yeah.
Right? And all this is telling the stories of what's going on the land. And they don't even know that they're talking for the people on the land about what's going on the land without ever telling you exactly what they're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Because the tribal influenced the patterns of thought. Don't you think it ain't no pale faces out there crip walking? Don't you think it ain't no Asians crip walking? Don't you think it ain't no Samoans down there crip walking? Even though they got the Heka, which is cold. All of that is tribal war dances or storm dances. Crib walking is walking lightning. Represent Big Tookie. The patron saint of those that work with the iron. That's why Arnold Schwarzenegger had to get the rub before he could operate on the land. Then he got to pay it back. So he's saying for Tookie to get froze instead of executed.
Schwarzenegger did that when he was governor?
Yeah, that's why he played Mr. Freeze in Batman.
Oh, shit. Wow.
Okay, so border states got a different protocol when it comes to interacting with the military. They got a higher standard than what they call interstates, the states in the middle. The ones on the border for national security can bypass the office of the president and go straight to the military top command in order to get clearance on a matter of national security. It's part of all of the constitutions of border states.
Yeah.
So he used his ability is because he knew who Tookie was. Instead of executing, we gonna do what they did to Walt Disney. We gonna put him in cryostasis. Now remember, the Bashinga tribe had already told him how to thaw a brother out without messing him up. So they didn't already been thawed out in Antarctica. They try to tell us they brought him from Africa.
So you telling me Big Tookie have been thawed out already?
Yeah, he was in Area 51. He was in cryostasis in Area 51. Back when he got thawed out, you remember Kanye was walking around with that big ass coat and them big ass boots in LA weather.
Yeah. I remember that.
That's because he was telling us Big Tookie is cold from being froze. He got to walk around in the LA heat with this kind of clothing on. Then when Tookie hair fell out from being froze, Kanye did what made how Tookie hair look. That's the patches he put in his head. He's sitting there telling you. He can only tell you so much.
Yeah. This is definitely one of them ones. I did not connect the dots on that one. And it's amazing because if anybody was to be to do something like that, it would be Ye. I could see Ye being the person to do it. And it's nuts because
the reason why they use Kanye to tell the message is because everybody think he crazy. Right. And that's the chief crazy horse energy that ODB was using, the same energy.
Somebody just dropped that too when we were talking about Triumph in the Woo. That's real. What you thought you weren't gonna see me? I'm the Osiris of this bit. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So all of the Wu-Tang members is from different tribes, but they are chiefs in the tribe they from. And RZA was able to bring them together for the love of the music and for the love of the culture. And they made magic. In the middle of some of the greatest hip hop being dropped.
Yeah.
Being dropped.
Yes. Because they was in the middle. They was in up in the I could see 7 or 8 classes right now. They was in the middle of Pac when his run. They was in the middle of Biggie with Ready to Die and Life After That. They was in the middle of Nas. It was written in Illmatic. They was in the middle, of some real certified Hall of Fame classics. And they still came in 9 deep and not just dropped the 36 Chambers and the Wu-Tang Forever, but each individual classic. Like they almost every single one of them albums, the solo joints was a classic within its own right, let alone what they did collectively as the Wu.
Oh, they was even feeding underground artists.
Yes.
A lot of people don't know, they had a whole street team.
Yep.
And a lot of the street teams was other local groups that was using the Wu-Tang channels to get their music out. So they'd be selling the Wu-Tang a RZA CD cassette, and then they'd turn around and have a cassette.
Yep.
a lot of local artists got on like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was No Limit like before, like they were like the up north version of No Limit. Because you remember when P had hit his stride and went crazy. You remember that when he went nuts and was signed? Like he brought Snoop, he brought Mystical, he brought not only who we had there with
but
his.
Before he came out with Mystical.
P.
Yeah.
Right. And then he
came
up.
He came out with Mystical. They told him Mystical was hot garbage. He took a chance on him and blew up.
Yep. Somebody said, what did Old Dirty Bastard Chief Crazy Horse mean when he said he's Osiris? Okay.
So that Osiris, Big Baby Jesus, was what he called himself.
He sure did.
The reason why he called himself Big Baby, that's from Biggie. Baby, baby. Osiris mean the resurrected great one, right? And it's in reference to an encounter that he had in somewhere with Biggie, musically. He took over, King of New York, Chief Crazy Horse. Ain't nobody want to see him. That's like running up on DMX talking about you want a battle.
Yeah. Big wasn't nothing to play with. And you know what?
But he ain't want to mess with ODB. ODB was unorthodox, and a lot of artists couldn't deal with his unorthodox delivery.
Yeah.
That's the same with Busta Rhymes in the early days. Leaders of the new school. He was unorthodox, and he rapped fast as hell unorthodox, and a lot of people couldn't keep up with him.
You know what's funny? And as you're speaking of that, what you said about ODB, which is I agree. But what's the brother's name? I cannot think. I know somebody in the tribe. If you don't got to know it, but the boxer, he fights with the drunken style. I cannot think of his name, but he'd be like, he'd just be moving around, he'd be dead like, and jump out the way. I can't think of the brother's name.
I know you're talking about. They used to call him the Drunken Master.
There you go. But when you said that about ODB, that's the first thing that jumped in my head. But he's doing his thing now, currently too. I know somebody in the tribe know the brother I'm talking about, the boxer. But yeah, he did have that unorthodox. He had that old school. Like it's funny. I be telling people about like playing ball. I was like, man, you can't look at how somebody play ball by how they look. Well, because I done been out there on the court with an old bald white dude that's out there dropping dimes, cooking folks. Like it don't matter how you look. You got to have skills. You know what I'm saying? Like because everybody can look the part, but not have skills.
Skills are developed by practice.
Yes, sir. That's fact.
Ask Allen Iverson.
Yeah, the answer.
Practice.
Yes, sir. We talk about practice.
Once the skill is developed and becomes muscle memory, you don't have to practice as hard unless you want to break a plateau that nobody else has ever broke.
Mm-hmm.
If you are right being Mr. Big 50, the most 50-point games, and not having 50 championships, then you only gonna reach a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
But if you trying to be the GOAT, you're gonna keep running into Isaiah till you learn how to fly, and they call you air.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
But it wouldn't be no Michael Jordan if it wasn't for Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars. Mm-hmm. We be forgetting that, and Larry Bird.
Mm-hmm.
We call Michael Jordan the GOAT, but Magic Johnson came in his rookie year and then went to the championship, played 5 different positions in the finals and dominated, and then turned around and got rings and was a threat for over 15 years or 12 years, however many he played.
Mm-hmm.
He was always a threat, and the only person who was a threat to him was Bird. I just didn't know he was that kind of shit talker.
Who, Magic or Bird?
Bird.
Yeah, both of them went in.
Yeah, but we forget that they knew that was going to be a great rivalry because there was a great rivalry in college.
Yep. Yeah.
But Magic was the assist king.
Yep.
Right? Isaiah come from the era of what they call Pat school. You got to be able to dribble through everybody on the court without fumbling the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so they the ones that hardened players that came up getting elbows by Rick Mahorn.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah, dogs back then. Big
Yeah.
Oakley, Rodman,
Yep.
even Lane Beer. Lane Beer would let them hands go.
Yeah, and them elbows too. And he'll trip you, step on your feet, all of that. These new players couldn't play in that era because they're not trained to take the abuse and continue to be determined to win.
Yeah, that's a
They'd
different.
be too busy crying.
That's a different era. That's a whole different mindset. Like that's totally different. I remember I coached, and I'm talking about youth ball too. I'll never forget I had a little boy on my team who had that dog in him like Lane Beer. Oh my God, he made my heart melt because he was an enforcer, and I never had to say anything to him. If somebody did a dirty foul, and I mind you, these were young kids. They were probably like in the 3rd, 4th grade, maybe 4th, 5th. I don't remember. They were young, and I was coaching. I just remember he had the natural instinct where he was a natural enforcer. If anybody gave a hard foul on one of my dogs, he was at him, boy. Once I had to run out in the court to grab him because he was ready to go. Like, boy, go ahead, boy. You're making your papa proud, boy. You're making your coach papa proud, boy. Yes, sir. He was a dog, man, for real. Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, and you know, the eras are so different. Like, even like, I don't know, did you watch the Last Dance with the Bulls when they showed behind the scenes with that whole Jordan era? With the dynasty? Oh man, you gotta check it out because I was like, yo, I watched it maybe like 1.5, 2 times, but it was like there was so much in there that we never knew that happened, you know, on Front Street because we didn't have access to behind the scenes, you know, things of that nature back then, especially back in that era, the 90s. So when they brought it back out, it was so dope to see how many things that were going on behind the scenes that was relevant into what we actually saw, you know, on Front Street as a fan. So it was a real cool series, man. I think you'll like that one for sure, especially to see how Mike used to get it in too.
Yeah. I think we got to start wrapping it up. My phone getting low on juice.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we went way harder than that. Well, I knew it was going to go hard. I didn't know it was going to go this long. We still got almost 1,200 people at 1:23 a.m. Yeah, we getting it in. Shout out to Sun Kisser said, well, you sure put me on track every time I see Rob tuning in. Yeah, we appreciate you, Sun Kisser. I'm definitely looking forward to trying to make it happen as much as possible, or as often as possible, anyways, for sure. Real quick before we wrap it up, Big Chief, there's one thing I wanted to get into. I don't know if we got enough time to get into it or not, but when we were speaking right before we came on to the air, backstage, when we were speaking about the future of the young leaders and the young minds, right, and how they are like a metaphorical allegory or metaphorical representation of King Tut. Do we have time to kind of tap on that before we sign off? For tonight?
Yeah, so King Tut is the symbol for the quintessential boy king. The boy being wise beyond his years at an early age. They begin to explain to the adults how to solve problems. The boy king is the particular energy, and it's the best representation I could probably tell y'all where y'all get it is Tupac. Perfect embodiment of boy king energy. Where at the early ages of 2021, but you look back in history, that was the age in which some of the greats became royalty. But King Tut became king at 13, right? That's the quintessential age of the boy king. He's the prince, but when he ascends to the throne, he becomes the king, right? So when we looking at the bar mitzvahs and all that, that's the coming of age ceremony. But in Kemet, it was the crowning and coronation of the rightful heir as the pretender to the throne. He's the king to be. And then you have other princes who, if the king doesn't do what's required for him to properly ascend the throne, will replace him. Right. So the boy king is those young children. It's different for girls. The most of the feminine influences have been systematically removed in order to disenfranchise women from their heritable birthrights. All of the secret societies have been keeping the power of the woman a secret so that she never aligns with her sisters and stomp her feet and reclaim Earth. The ceremonies and rituals that they all know how to do, that they don't want to tell the woman. Most of them are called Sufi rituals. And women, the daughters of the Sufi, you never know who they is, but their father always got to teach a daughter all of the secrets of the Sufi. In case the matriarch return, these priestesses can help heal the earth. They know who they are. I didn't talk to some of them.
Yeah. They sure do. They sure do, buddy. I done met a couple of my doggone self. Matter of fact, one of them might, I don't know if they're still on, but one of them was definitely popped in tonight. I know that for sure.
They be standing on business. Every time you see one, they standing on business.
All day.
They ain't got no time. They'll laugh and joke with you as long as it's furthering the agenda of the underlying business. Otherwise, they ain't got no kicking this for you.
No, sir. And they will bust your head, man. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and steer clear, and I'm not going to get in the way of all that tizziness and tangle upness because I don't want none of it. But, man, nah, this was dope, bro. I already knew it was going to be dope. So, you know, shout out to you. I look forward to doing it again, man. Definitely got some things that we're working on behind the scenes to put together in due time in the very near future, family. So, listen, I salute each and every one of y'all, man. I give thanks. Muwata Ashby at Cola was asking about the author. And then real quick, can you share your socials? Because I see people, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they might be asking about yours, your socials where they can connect with you as well.
Yeah. My Facebook is Rod Hayes. My background and profile changed because I be upgrading my image. And my Instagram page is the Sick 8. The same as my Cash App, the Sick 8, without the $sign.
I sure. And I'll share that, family, in the show description. I don't know if we'll get to it tonight because it's so late, but it'll definitely be up, if not tonight, early tomorrow. I'll have that info tagged into the show description as well. And with that, man, I definitely appreciate you, Big Chief, man, for another legendary conversation and episode. So, family, we appreciate y'all tapping in, turning this Ashe Club up on a Tuesday, man. We went hard, as you always know that we're going to do. So I appreciate each and every last single one of y'all, man. I appreciate the love, support, the new subscribers, the new members of the channel, everything. We definitely appreciate all the love.
I love Queen Janae. Excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. But I was
go ahead.
I love Queen Janae. I ain't had a chance to meet her yet, but I always watch her. She know what she doing. She one of them sisters that know who they is on the land and what her birthright is. She just got to know who the rest of the sisters doing the same thing. Soon as they get to consolidating that energy and making them connections, but we hesitant to meet with each other because of the experience we went through with them skin folk that ain't kinfolk infiltrating us and everything. So, but she be spitting straight fire. I'll be watching her. Same with Floorburn, the governess. I forgot her. She be going in. I had her. Me and her was on Young Elder together one time. Dr. Kia Pruitt.
That's
right. I would be on her show. She be on the financial side. You could tell that she come from a line of the ones, the pretty girl line. I call them the Prispies.
Hey, we need them for sure.
Yeah, that's that, because they the ones that teach the younger women how to be in a relationship and last. Right. We was talking about the ceremony in white, the goddess glow up, Heidi Barbell. She been doing. I seen her years ago, and every year when she get ready to do, or every year or two, she do her goddess glow up. I always post it and share it to try to get as many sisters to go, because she's helping them not only to get past the whatever traumas they dealing with, but to also learn their talent and how to monetize it and generate a life from what they know how to do.
I sure.
You know, so those are some of the programs too we will be in the future, we're going to be expanding the ones already doing the work, giving them a team that support the work, that believe in the vision that they put forth to assist them. So one person not working so hard, they have a team. But now we've been so busy fighting individually, we didn't got accustomed to taking on an overwhelming amount of intense labors to get the message to the people that it's time for us to heal from the trauma and the BS.
That's facts.
And move forward into a future. We got a plan for 7 generations going into a golden age. So we have to get this figured out soon.
Yeah, no, that's facts, man. And I agree 1,000,000%. Shout out to the queen too. What platform is she on? You said Janae, the one that you was saying, and I wrote
she
down
on YouTube.
Okay,
she
I'm
on
gonna
YouTube.
check her out. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely check her out, and then Goddess Glow Up as well. I think you had mentioned her to me a while back too when we was chopping it up, I think, off here. So yeah, I'm gonna check
her out.
out.
Any woman that thinks she having problems in her relationship and she want to make her man more affectionate to her, go.
Wow.
Yo, because how do you call it being juicy? And it's a different a soft woman get a different man than a hard woman.
Oh yeah, all day, every day.
If a woman is walking in the way of the woman, the man is going to be more in the way of a man in relation to taking care of her. But they've been teaching the women to be rough, rugged cowboys.
Yep.
Then we got to get the women to let other women know it's okay when you find the person that's going to stand up for you, stand with you, and be your partner, to be soft like that.
I sure.
That don't mean she gonna be soft in the street to your ass though, because she might cuss you out.
Oh, she might cut you. You better got to be more careful.
Hey, I like to say the whole team is shooter, because if she shoots you, the whole team shooting you.
Oh yeah, listen. Yeah, we don't get down like that around these parts, man. We're gonna go ahead and give them what they got dog deserve, and we ain't running up on them at all for no reason. No sir. I don't want it.
All right, I don't want the phone to cut off before you close us out, man.
Yeah, we done, man. I definitely appreciate you, bro. So yeah, shout out tribe to everybody who came through, man, to show love, turning this thing up, in the comments on a good Tuesday. And Chief, man, I appreciate you. I definitely be in touch, man. I look forward to doing this thing again, man. As always, another phenomenal build. With that, family, this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. We'll see y'all on the next episode. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We out, family. Peace.
Peace.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàpọ̀ tẹ́ntẹ́ ní takisa ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo ṣe ní gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors and praise your